Today we've got a Southern rut hunting masterclass for you guys. Really excited about this throwback episode. Every once in a while we like to do throwback episodes, which is where we recorded a really good episode a couple years ago. It kind of got lost in the feed. We like to bring it back to the front. This one is with our buddies Nick Harris and Scott Seals. Scott and Nick are two of the best rut hunters that we know in Alabama. They get it done every single year on public and private land. And this episode is a really good comparison of old school versus new school tactics. Nick is younger than Scott. He does some things differently. Scott has decades of experience. They're both really successful. And in this episode, we kind of put those two together and figure out what makes them successful year in, year out in the deep south in pine country during the rut. So perfect timing for this episode. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready to go out and hunt the rut, whether you're in Alabama or Mississippi or somewhere else. So I think you're gonna get a lot out of this one. If you like it, drop a comment below what you thought about it. And y'all make sure to let us know how you're doing this year. If you kill a buck using something you heard on the show, make sure you go to our website, thesouthern.outdoorsman.com, and leave us a listener success story. We love seeing those. We post them all on social media. So y'all go send those in if you're having luck this year. Now, without further ado, let's kick it on over to this throwback episode with our buddies Scott Seals and Nick Harris. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Southern Outdoorsman Podcast. We're sitting here just surrounded by big old giant deer on the walls, including the Wizard, who many long-term listeners might know about. I'm just going to let everybody introduce themselves. I'm going to go left to right. Introduce yourself.
I'm Scott Seals.
Yes, sir. Killer of the Wizard.
I was lucky one morning. I got lucky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jacob Myers, the ginger bow hunter, which should be just the ginger gunslinger now because I've killed three
He
deer
doesn't
so
kill
far this
nothing
year.
with a bow, man. I don't know why we call him that.
It's been a little while, but yeah, Jacob Myers here on the podcast. And Nick.
Yeah, I'm Nick Harris, and I'm just here for moral support.
He's my handler.
Make sure Scott doesn't slip up and say anything he's not supposed to.
Thank you. Thank you. I need it.
So a little bit of backstory on this podcast. We all hunt one of the same areas. We've all got history there, and really it kind of started with the story of that deer called the Wizard, which is hanging up on the wall right there. Michael Pike, as many people know on the podcast, ended up getting that deer on camera one summer, and kind of ended up going all in on that deer for the remainder of that deer season. I ended up getting him on camera. I hunted him like maybe twice, but Mike really went in there and just really hammered down and tried to kill that deer. And then Scott, you ended up killing that deer during the rut. And that's kind of how we got to know about you guys. And I think I'd seen you, maybe on social media at one point or another, but kind of got to talking to y'all about your experiences out there, and we had a lot in common. And man, we just came over here to record this podcast, and we've been talking for 2 hours like we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, it's been good.
Man, just shooting the breeze about hunting this place. So why don't you give us a little background on yourself, kind of like your hunting history and where you're at today?
Just simple grassroots. Grew up born 65. By 1970. Carrying a shotgun. That's my passions have always been hunting, fishing, outdoors, anything. Ended up mainly hunting management areas. We hunted Wolf Creek back in the day, and I was raised in Jasper.
My whole family's like from Jasper.
Yeah. Checker was telling me you had some property out there. What was somebody? No, that was somebody else.
No, I don't have property out there. I wish I did.
There weren't any deer there back then. Mm-hmm. You had to go like towards Townley and Fayette to even get into any deer. It's such a trip now because Walker County had very few deer back then, but now one of the best places you could be to kill a trophy buck. Big buck. Went in the military right out of high school. Ended up cutting my teeth bow hunting in the Everglades. Whitetail and hogs. And after I got out, I started hunting, and that's where I started cutting my Alabama, teeth, if you will. And I've dabbled in hunting clubs, but I've mainly always been management area.
I was going to bring that real quick, Scott, because you and me talked for like an hour and a half when I was coming back from Arkansas, and maybe for a funny conversation. And you brought up that you had joined. This is like recently, within the last couple of years, joined a club just to get access to some places that used to be public. Now is a hunting club. What is your take after like kind of hunting both public land and also private land? Like, what's your thought on like hunting club versus what you've been experiencing on public land?
That's the thing. Is I've hunted the management area I hunt now for 23 years, I think, exclusively, other than dabbling with a lease we had here and there with a couple of my other friends. I've actually hunted the management area so much that I've formed my own way of doing things, and then for me to try to go back into a hunting club now with sign out and rule this and rule that and do this and don't do that. And everywhere I would go, and I would be like, oh, this looks pretty good, this is pretty hot. And then the next thing I know, there's a camera and there's corn and there's a stand, and I'm like, okay, well, let me go over here, these hunt clubs are 2,000 acres, 2,500 acres. And I'm used to hunting, very fast amounts of land. Yeah. And I would have a place here, a place here, a place here. And you would have to get in the truck and drive for 20 minutes. And I would be like, I'm going here, I'm going here. There was so it was hard for me to rein myself in. And I can't do a hunting club. Yep. I can't do it. I can't do it. If it was 5,000, I might could do it, or but how many clubs are like that?
Yeah,
now?
they're few and far between.
Yeah. I can't. We go, we go hard, and we learn everything. We learn the terrain. We learn the deer These deer migrate. They don't have bedding area, feeding area, back and forth, back and forth. They transition. They have, I call it a migration, where that they move and they have different core areas, different feeding areas. It's not, it's different. It's deer that live off a honeysuckle.
And that's something that's kind of interesting, because you're talking about, some people think like, oh man, 2,000 acres, 3,000 acres, 4,000 acres, that's a pretty sizable property. But when you go from hunting tens of thousands of acres to something that small, you feel limited.
I can't do it anymore. Yeah. I can't do it anymore.
Which is interesting, because again, I think a lot of people don't understand that mindset until you've hunted a lot of public land and experienced that, but also not only hunt it for a few years, but hunt it for decades like you have, where you've kind of like learned so many different areas, so many different ways to go about hunting it. That makes you more efficient and effective to be able to cover a ton of ground if you need to, versus you only have a couple thousand acres and you have a few spots that you feel very confident in, specifically hunting the rut. Now, not to sidetrack too much, I'm curious, because when you started hunting public land, I don't know what it was back then, but I started hunting, say, this piece of public land about 8-10 years ago. And check-in hunts were always something that got my competitiveness very like teaked.
Where you go get in that line.
I'm sitting out there at 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning, and y'all were probably sitting there with me, like in line in folding chairs, because like we'd get there.
We already had the permits.
So, okay. So that's what I was gonna say. What was the strategy back then when it was a check-in hunt where you had to be there physically? Which, for listeners, to give you an idea, so a lot of these pieces of public land up until a few years ago, at least this one piece of public land, you had to do a physical check-in hunt. On gun hunts, you actually had to be there, where the game warden or the biologist would give you a physical paper permit to go hunt that day. And it was very competitive. People would park all over the place. There'd be a line of 200 plus people. If you got there late, if you got there early like me and you got there at 3:30, there'd probably be 30 people in line still. And some guys sitting there since, not necessarily midnight, but they've been sitting there for a long time with some coffee. Yeah. So what was your strategy back then, or if there was much of a strategy when it came to paper permits?
I've always hunted some places that I didn't worry that much about being taken, and that's another part, maybe, that some sort of method to my madness. I would hunt some ugly stuff.
So not the places that people would go to automatically.
Right. So, if I was, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I've always kind of taken it on my terms, and you're always going to encounter other people. It's public land. It's going to happen. A lot of the people I talk to are like, well, don't you worry about getting shot? And I'm like, I never worry about getting shot. I think it might have happened maybe in the past, but so very rare. I feel more worried about getting shot on a hunting club, walking down the road. That's where that kind of stuff happens. It's, but anyway, yeah, good. I take things on my terms. I know where I'm going to go. If somebody's there, I go to plan B. I have places. I don't fret about things like that. So many people like, this is my spot. I got to be first there. I got to go deep. You just got to kind of sit back and have a plan. And it doesn't have to be that deep. It doesn't have to be. You might encounter people, and it might be the best thing that ever happened to you that day. It's happened to me on many a time.
It's almost like looking at hunting pressure as being a positive thing.
It is. It's yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I do.
Yeah,
Hunt the people.
Yeah. It's Nick has been able to. He and I kind of come together, and he's picked up things and ran with it, and I'm just like, damn, bro.
Well, Scott is old school, right? And for the listener, my name's Nick Harris. I'm from this same little general area. All of us are from, but I grew up hunting behind dogs. Hatchet Creek Hunting Club, Coos County, 30,000 acres.
That's all we had.
No kidding.
And my first, I didn't know there was any other way of deer hunting other than with dogs when I was.
But I mean, my daddy, we had blue ticks, we had it all, and I shot my first deer when I was 6 years old with a 410 slug behind dogs. Like I've got my oldest girl, she's 9. Or she's going to be 9 in December, but she has yet to shoot a deer. And the only reason she hadn't shot one is if she goes with me, she cannot be on the iPad. She has to realize what's going on. And so I've got some leased property. My passion is public land, but I can dump out 2 bags of corn, hunt the right wind, and you're going to see a doe. That's just simple facts. And my dad brought me up, and I knew what rubs and scrapes were before I shot a deer. I was 4 and 5 years old, and I could tell you, if that cedar tree's rubbed, how old is it, right? And stuff like that. And so that's what I'm trying to instill in my kids. But to Scott's point, Scott's old school, right? We used to live in the same neighborhood, and we told a story earlier, is we lived in the back of a neighborhood, and I didn't know Scott. This was probably 10 years ago. And I passed by his house, and there's a buck hanging up at his house. I'm like, heck yeah, man. Well,
Out of my receiver. I was back in the driveway with the receiver and
And so I broke my neck looking. I was like, that's a daggum good one. And so I had to keep that in mind. I was like, I'll go talk to him one day, just, shoot the bull with him. Well, the next day, I drive back by, and he's got another big buck hanging up. I said, never mind. Put it in reverse.
He pulled right in. He's just like, hey, man. It was just like, and we picked up just like, I've known you all my life.
Right.
Man.
And but that's how a lot of hunters are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know you guys from Adam. And y'all walked in here, and we were popping it off.
Yeah.
So we were telling stories. And so anyway, so Scott tells me, where he kills one of these deer at. And it's a local management area. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I'm driving 2 hours, I'm leasing, I'm spending thousands of dollars, and you killing a 130-inch deer, right here by the house. And I hunted it in high school, but never had much luck, killed a couple bucks off of it, nothing big. But then Scott was like, man, he's like, I've hunted this place for 25 years. And I'm like, well, tell me more, right? And so he's got his clique, they're in their 50s now, and they just don't get after it like they used to. Now Scott, he gets after it still. Mark, he gets after it. Alan gets after it, but not like they used to when they were younger. And so he was like, if you want to go, I need somebody, to go with me. I'm like, well, heck yeah. So the following year, he's like, I got a spot, I got a tree, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you're going to see a deer. And I was like, cool, man, I don't care. So I go, and it's probably a 3/4 mile walk, an easy walk straight behind the gate, straight down the road, pine tree on the left. You'll see it's been climbed, 3 or 4 times, you can tell. And so I climb up there, and it's 8:30 in the morning. And now you got to remember 10 years ago when I was hunting it, you saw a 15-inch wide 6 or 7 point, you blasted it. And so it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Here it comes, 15-inch wide 7 point. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, should I shoot it? And I'm the kind that it's got to be a mature deer. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just got to be a mature deer.
Yeah.
So I pick up the phone, and this buck's 50 yards, and I call Scott, and I'm like, hey, like, you tell me my standards. Like, should I shoot this or should I let it walk? And he's like, dude, anything before 9 o'clock's a bonus, right? And so I said, oh, no problem. Put the phone in the pocket, go back 10 o'clock, 125, 130-inch 8-point, 4-year-old deer. He comes out, I shoot it. And it was a funny story earlier, but I shoot this deer, and it's in 25, 30-year-old pines, got some good undergrowth, 3-4 foot tall briars. And so I shoot, and this deer disappears. So I'm like, heck yeah, dropped it, right? And I'm trying to finagle my safety harness, and I sit back down and look back up, and there's a buck standing exactly where I shot it at. Well, there was 2 does that the buck was behind that I shot, and I'm like, hang on. I was like, that's a freaking jive. And so I throw the scope back on it, and I'm like, good God, that's not the deer I shot. It's like 140-inch 8-point. And so the thought crosses my mind, like, should I shoot this deer? Did I drop the other one? He's standing exactly where it was. My phone's vibrating. Scott's hunting 1/4 mile from me. And I mean, it's just...
They had just come through. There was another buck that came through. There was 2 does that come up. They came out on the road, and they came down the road to me, and then they left, and I saw the buck never really followed them, but it's like he could see them. Mm-hmm. He was trailing them by sight. That was one of the first times. Yeah. And then they went on down there to where you were at.
Yeah, he got
platoon. I'm like, okay.
So, anyways, this 140-inch 8-point standing there, and the thought outlaw mind crosses like, dude, I got to shoot this 140-inch deer on public land. So, anyways, long story short, he goes off. I get down, go to the buck, good 4-year-old, 125, 130-inch 8-point. So that's my first experience in 10 years on this piece of property. And it's $18 to hunt, right? So I'm like, dude, I spent $4,000 this year on leases. And like Scott was saying,
he was knee deep in some lease, man.
And ever since that day, man, that's what got me hooked. And so I'm taking the old school mindset that Scott, Mark, and Alan have, and I'm just putting the new school deal to it as far as the e-scout and all this, and I've introduced into Hunt Stand, Onyx, and all that. And so once I start putting the pieces to the puzzle, and hey, Scott's like, dude, you need to check this area out. And so I'll get on the internet and look at it, and I'm like, okay. Oh, yeah. And there, you can get on the internet, you can look at it, and you can go bam, bam, bam.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'll always serve it up to him, because he's a different generation that.
It's like old school meet new school.
Yeah. And man, it works, and we feed off of each other, and there's no shit between the two of us. It's straight facts. Mm-hmm. And it works. So, only thing is
what? Say it. I'm not going to shoot.
Well, no, it's not the fact that I don't mind that you don't shoot those bucks, but there's the ones that they do shoot, and I'm like, ooh, God, I could have. Oh man!
But there for 3 or 4 years, man. Yeah, we killed a stew out of them. Mark killed good ones, Alan killed good ones, Scott killed good ones, I killed good ones. And it was like we were talking about earlier, when they started having the 5 and 7 day gun hunts is where we saw the decline, right? So the past 2 years hadn't been the same, and it's shown across the board. I mean, at Bankhead, and it's social media too. I mean, everything's gotten so popular that the deer, they need a year or two just to get another year or two age on them. Yep. So, and I hunted this particular management area all last year and never pulled a trigger. And I never saw a 3.5-year-old deer, or what I thought was a 3.5-year or older deer. And I'm kind of OCD about like who hunts out there. I know, and I'll take a gun hunt morning and I'll just drive around. and I got my photographic memory of vehicles, blah, 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 blah. And so I kind of know the areas where people hunt, and I'll spend 5 hours driving. I'll lock my truck in 4-wheel drive and go to places that I'm not supposed to be going, so to speak, just to figure out who's hunting there. Not even to hunt, just to see, right? And that takes a lot. But now that I've got 3 kids, it's hard to spend the time. It's the same thing with fishing, and I competitively bass fish. Is people ask me, like, how do I stay on top of deer? How do I stay on top of the fish? And it's time on the water fishing, and it's time in the whiz deer hunting. All these guys that kill these big ones on
graph. You're running that side skin.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
No, what's the what's equal to like the or equivalents to side scan for bass fishing for deer hunting?
Running the roads after
Nick is slapping his boot
after a rain. After a rain, go run your roads that you can run and see what's on the hoof, and that's where you get back into the way these deer migrate, shift around. You go run the roads, and you start finding the tracks. That's the most simple form of scouting, man. It's the most simple form of scouting is looking for tracks. Well, if you can run the roads out there and like, okay, they're up in here. Okay, there's 2 big bucks in here. You need to get in a tree. It's where that area. In that area, go.
and not every public land has that, right?
Right.
Listen, this is a side note.
This makes me feel real good about myself.
Hey, real quick, does Scott remind you of Kevin Murphy a little bit?
A little bit.
A little
actually,
bit.
now that you mention
a
it.
little bit. I keep getting that vibe a little bit. It's one of our buddies from Kentucky. I've got to bring.
I need to be in Kentucky hunting with.
Oh, you like him? You like him?
Oh well, yeah. Kentucky is my place as far as that's the only
He's
place.
talked about it for 2 weeks that he's going back to Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm going back.
Man, I'll tell you what. The looking at the cars on opening day of gun season, or taking a gun day and driving around and looking at tracks. I do both of those things. So y'all making me feel good about.
But see, the thing is like you got to have 3 or 4 guys you can do it with, and this certain piece of
you got to say
we're talking about.
You got to have information.
Is a lot of clay roads, and so you can see tracks. But say you take a place like Bankhead, right? You can't
gravel road.
You can't do it there. So you got to take what you're given, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're given.
Yeah.
And so Scott will take this 1,000-acre section, Nick takes 6,000-acre section, and say Andrew takes that 1,000-acre section, and whether it's driving or walking, you can tell a 3 or 4 finger track cross the road twice in this general quarter mile. All right, boys, hey, we got a 4-year-old plus deer, 200 pounds, possibly. It's a mature deer. It may have 5 points, it may have 10 points, but it's a mature deer.
Yeah.
And it's in this section. And so then either you get on there and you look, and that's kind of what I do is I look at the map and I figure out what drainage is, right? And so then we'll bail off into drainages, and 9 times out of 10 it's nighttime sign, but it's sign. You know what I mean?
They're there.
And I can't remember the podcast, and I started listening to podcasts ever since the Wizard. So I'm 2
Turned
years,
you on to it, huh?
I'm 2 years in, but the killing win, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I've always believed in that, and I've never called it a killing win. I've just called it an off win, right?
Yeah,
and
it's an angle. You need that angle.
Everybody's always like, you got to hunt with the wind in your face, right? Well, I leased a property in Lowndes County, and it was pasture land, and we would plant 3 and 4 acre food plots, and we'd set shooting houses up 150 yards, 200 yards off. So you're shooting 300 yards to the food plot. Well, when the wind was in your face, you would see some does, right? But when you could tell the major trails that were coming in and out, and they were always either the back of the food plot, left or right. And so if you have your major trail on the right hand side of the food plot, and you got a wind blowing left to right, well, you're 150 yards off the food plot, but that buck's approaching the food plot with the wind in his face, and so you're sitting back 150 yards, you're good. And he has no care in the world. He walks out there.
But that's when he shows up.
That's when he shows up, right? And you take the same mindset to these public land stuff. With a bow, it's a lot harder. With a rifle,
it's tough.
You've got 3 and 4 day gun hunts. You throw the wind out the window.
Yeah.
You just go hunt. I mean, you get 2 or 3 buddies, and you don't necessarily hunt the same spot, but you got to go. I work 5 days a week, and I get 2 days. I get a Saturday and a Sunday. Most time it's a morning.
Yeah, you got to take what you're given.
And you sit till 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
you sit not necessarily daylight, but 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be from 11 to 2.
Yeah,
that's an interesting point. Talking about like the off wind, kind of forgetting about the wind on those hunts, and we actually brought that up on a podcast recently about the whole idea of like when we're talking to guys like you guys, which in the state of Alabama we have a very long rifle season. The rifle season corresponds with the rut in a lot of these areas we're talking about. Is like it's a very specific style of hunting compared to if you're in Kentucky and early part of the rut is archery season.
That's
like
right.
it's totally different style of hunting. So I don't want people to think that, you need to go bow hunt exactly how we're talking about, because it's hard to do that, especially when we're talking about seeing distancing and kind of covering a lot of ground. But I see more and more guys we talk to are talking about this, like off winds, don't even worry about having the wind doesn't need to be in your advantage. It needs to be in the buck's advantage, and you're just off enough. By the time he shows up, you should have a shot opportunity at him. If you've been watching or listening to the show over the last couple of years, you probably heard me talk about I like a little bit bigger pack. Last year I was using the Ranger 22 and actually was surprised how well I could use that pack all the way into late season, carrying extra layers in and have some modularity there. But I love modularity in a backpack, and that's where I really like the new Ranger 33 from Latitude Outdoors. The Ranger 33 is the bigger brother of the Ranger 22 backpack, and a couple features I really like outside of just the bag being a little bit bigger, so a little more storage in the actual pack itself, but is the bigger panel on the back of it. This allows for your sticks to run really clean vertically, but also be able to pack a little bit more layers if you need to on the outside of your pack that you're going to put on once you get to your tree. Having a bigger pack is something that's really nice, especially as you get into late season, you carry a few more layers with you, or like me, you want to carry a few extra Little Debbie snacks. So if you're looking for a modular pack that can scale up or scale down depending on the time of the season, check out the Ranger 33 from LatitudeOutdoors.com. Something every deer hunter gets excited about is when a cold front's pushing through. And one thing that Onyx Hunt just released that I'm really excited about is their new weather feature built into the app. What it allows you to do is be able to scroll throughout all your pins, whether it's in the same state, same county, or across the country, and get accurate weather data directly from that pin location with the closest weather station. This eliminates the need for multiple apps. Also, it has barometric pressure, but one other thing is it has accurate moon data. So for the guys that like hunting moon phase, moon positioning, all that kind of stuff, it shows all that in the app as well. So all you moon phase guys, moon positioning guys, we got you covered. So now Onyx Hunt is your one-stop shop for whitetail hunting, getting all the accurate information that you need, whether it's mapping, weather, looking at trail camera data, and so on. It's a one-stop shop for you. So if you want to try Onyx Hunt this fall, you can use the code SOUTHERN to save on your membership. Know where you stand with Onyx Hunt.
Well, it's so many times, in our case, and especially once you get into the rut, you don't know where a deer may come from, It's you might set up for this scenario, but then everything changes real quick, and the wind will roll. Mm-hmm. I was actually in a place Saturday where the elevation took a quick, and there was a northwest wind, and what I was feeling was coming from southeast. Because it was rolling.
Yeah.
He was also in shade till 11 o'clock.
It was cold. It was cold until 10 o'clock.
I was in the sun at 6:30.
Nah, you suck. He was up there in the shoebox.
Yeah, the little shoebox.
He was ready to make it happen again, and I was just listening. Hey, but you don't really realize, how you and I come to, you do, but for me to be able to, to translate those things to you, and you to go in there and take just and get it done. That to me is I find so much satisfaction in that.
Now, when you shoot a 170 out of your spot, it's kind of like, oh, did that gummit,
But I have my Mark killed that 154. Mm-hmm. I hunted that deer for a year and a half, and it was a big. God, it's beautiful.
See, we need to get Mark and Alan and all of us and just tell stories.
Yeah, because some of our stories you won't believe them. Yeah, and Mark killed another buck that weighed like 238. Yeah, back before they started
Going downhill.
Yeah.
but just the all the timber and everything, and all the acorns. The acorns kept their body weights up real high. But no, man, it was Alan and Mark and I, we cut our teeth there and
I'm just reaping the rewards.
yeah.
And Nick's cashing in, baby. Let's go.
I'm just sitting back and enjoying it, man. I am. I'm just sitting. It's all gravy now. It's all gravy.
So
it really is.
I've got to bring this up. So I learned about you guys without even knowing who you guys are. Like y'all's group, like Alan, Mark, Scott, and then Nick, from the old manager of the property. I was down there checking in, buddies with him, and he's like, look at this giant that was showed up, which, Nick, was your buck, big 17 point.
That he wasn't supposed to take a picture.
He wasn't supposed to take a photo.
I remember
it was just laying on the ground. You weren't in the photo.
Biologist assistant showed it to me. He's like, "Yeah, this guy said we can't post or anything like that."
So I'm like,
I'm not supposed to show you this.
Hold on, listen. You can't tell a story, Andrew. You can't tell a story. So I'm like,
It's making me nervous.
I'm like, we just started the podcast. Like it was like 20. I can't remember what year it was, but the podcast was early on. I'm like.
2018. I shot that one.
2018. That's when it was.
So, anyways, we had just started the podcast, and I'm like, man, like, well, who are these guys? I'd love to interview them. He's like, I can't tell you their names. If I told you their names, they'd get pissed at me. And so I can't tell who they are. Well, he's like, there's some guys, it's a group of old school dudes. That,
I'm going to call him tomorrow.
He's a group of old school guys that they kill the crap out of big deer every year, all this kind of stuff. They have a very specific hunting style and all this. Anyways, and I'm like, I've been fascinated. I'm talking for years of like who these guys are. Come to find out it's you guys. Okay.
Yeah,
here we are. We got you.
I ran into him. I ran into him one. It was a muzzleloader hunt. I want to say Mark and Alan were like, I think they were in Illinois hunting or something. It was something weird. I was hunting by myself, just like I went through a period there, and it was a muzzleloader hunt, and I was walking
Don't say the name of it.
Yeah, I know. It's hard, man. It's hard.
You got his hand
but I
ready.
was out in a specific area, walking, looking. I was putting my boots on the ground, looking for those said tracks, And I'm coming back towards the truck, and they pull up, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to find a place to kill a deer in the morning." I was like, I need some meat. I just want to kill a doe with a muzzleloader." And it's like, "Oh, okay," It's just.
But he's the deer you're talking about is Scott showed me this particular area, right? And just picture one long ridge, and it's steep on one side and steep on the other. On the right, we call the shoebox because it's all beech trees. It's nasty. And there's a branch in there, and it's the only spot that the deer can cross just because of the big rocks and stuff. People can try to find it, you ain't going to find it.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, he's like, you need to stick a camera up. At the time, this is, Scott had a couple cameras, but I was like, man, I got 15 of them. Let's stick one there. And so we stuck a camera up, and man, I checked. It was in August. So I checked this camera, and there's a 10-point with split brows. There's a 135-8. There's a freaking freak nasty with like 7 brow tines. And so I'm like, okay, like
Check.
Roll Tide. I'm going to hone in on it, right?
Roll Tide.
And so I go in, and this is like 2 weeks before open day gun season. And I go in and I look at the shoebox on the right, and there's just no sign. There's nothing.
It's always on the left.
And
man.
so I pop over to the left, and I'm like, boom.
Yeah.
There we go. And the left is, think of a turkey foot, right? And it's got 3 draws that go up into a cutover. Well, those 3 draws, they meet where I want to hunt. And behind me is 5-year-old pines. And so I got to get that cross, that kind of killing wind that's blowing up into those white oaks and those SMZs. But that's also the way to access this. So I had to start at like an hour and a half before daylight just to J-hook and get in there. And you have that feeling when you go into a spot. You're like, dude, if I don't blow them out, I'm going to kill one. I don't know what I'm going to kill, but I'm going to I'm gonna have a chance.
And it's early.
We're gonna have a taxidermy deal.
And so I get in there, and it's like 4:30, and my flashlight dies halfway in there. So I'm breaking branches and crap. And I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me! Like, I've waited for the right wind to get in here and hunt this stuff. So long story short, I climbed the tree, and I'm up there, and I don't have a flashlight, and I'm trying to load my gun in the dark, and I'm trying not to make noise, and I can hear a deer. I can hear acorns crunching 50, 60 yards up in there. And, I mean, it's like 6:20, 6:25, and that's right at that gray light period. And all of a sudden, everything just goes silent. Birds almost starting to chirp. Everything's almost starting to wake up, and I can hear the deer just start dragging his feet coming down. And if you've ever heard a buck walking, he drags his feet.
Dang, they make more noise than
They make it.
Yeah,
So he's
incredible.
coming and like shooting like is like 6:27. And I grabbed my phone out of my pocket, 6:28. I said, yeah, we're good.
We're going
And
high.
so there's a little old logging road that crosses the branch, and it comes like 10 yards in front of me. And so there's beech trees, and I've climbed too high in the dark to where all the beech trees are right in my view.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically have to kind of squat down to see, and I can see his feet. And when I put the scope on his feet, I just kind of follow it up to his head.
It was like 15 yards, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 15 yards. And my scope that particular gun scope goes down to 2.5 power. So I crank it down to 2.5, and I follow his head up. Then I just say split brow tine. I said, heck yeah, split brow tine 10. So I go straight to the shoulder, shoot, boom, and a deer runs 40 or 50 yards up on the side of the hill beside me, and he just stands there. I'm like, there's no way in heck I missed. And I mean, he's standing there, and all of a sudden I see his frame, and I see what he is. And so at that point, I rack no shell and shoot him again, and he drops. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. That was a freaking big deer. So I get up there to him, and long story short, deer had 17 points, 17 scorable points.
Yeah.
And so
That escalated quickly.
Oh, it's a split team, split route team.
Turns out it's just a 17-pointer.
the thing is
Cold
all these pictures that we got, man, are 150 yards in the other bottom we call the shoebox. And we ran a camera there for a month and a half, and have never had this deer on camera.
I jumped another big one on the end of that point, coming out of that. Yeah. I jumped one there, walked right up on him one day. And, it was you and I. I believe, yeah. We jumped him.
Y'all used to have a
that day.
lock on in there.
Yeah.
But anyways, like that, from that point forward, I ended up leasing some property because I knew the genetics in the area.
About a half a mile from here.
And so we've killed some freaking we've killed 143
that's a sweet spot. That's a sweet spot right there.
And this is in Alabama, by the way, just to give context to everybody.
But the thing is, what I won't like, I see all these guys into his like, shoot what you want to shoot, but man,
wait,
that 3.5-year-old buck, dude, is like gold.
Yeah.
If you can just let him walk and let him get to 4, like when they make that jump, that's their jump. At 3.5, if they're going to be a 140, they're going to be a 120 or 125 at 3. He's going
to be a really nice 3.
Andrew's not going to let him walk.
No, Andrew ain't going to let him walk.
Hey, Jacob might not too. Depends on the day. I'm not going to lie.
But I'm just saying, that's what I've let some 120s walk on this particular management area, and it takes, oh my gosh, you just set the gun down.
Well, that's the unique thing too. I mean, you're talking about doing this on a management area. And that's not something.
Yeah,
most people have that mindset.
This is no.
If I don't shoot them, somebody else is.
Well,
you're somebody else.
Yeah,
if you're gonna, you're that guy who you're talking about.
That's we got a spot we call 89, and it's because we got a picture of a big 8-point that's a 6-year-old deer, and then a 3.5-year-old 9 that was probably a 120.
Yeah,
and so me and Scott named this place 89, and they were together, and so I went in there muzzleloader hunting and let the 9-point walk. With a muzzleloader on public land, and then opening afternoon of gun season. You saw the big deer.
Yeah, I went in opening morning.
And that afternoon,
and
he
was there.
9-point.
He was under that tree. When I got there, I was unfamiliar. He had took a stand, which we always take our stuff in and out. But he took a stand and he left it because it's in a place where not a lot of people are gonna go. So he's telling me, he said, go up and do it. And I get 10 foot from the stand. I'm like, okay. And he had a lock on it. So I'm looking at my situation with the stand. I'm approaching. It's on this little flat that looks down. He said, there's a water oak that we were keying on.
Hey.
Oh. See, I got to have a handler.
You're
so
good. You're good.
As I'm looking at the stand, and I'm making
Me and Nick are gonna be best friends.
I'm making my final approach to the stand,
He's trying to remember the code to the lock.
No, I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, 50 yards. Wow, there goes a big old rack right. And that sucker was right under the tree, man. And I was just like, ah. And I tried to get on it. It was opening morning of rifle season. I actually, if I would have killed that deer, I would have tagged out with the Wizard and that other 10-point down there. Yeah,
That same year.
that would have, man.
But how many deer have you killed on public with a bow? How old are you?
How many
How
deer?
old are you?
I'm 57.
Okay, how many deer you killed?
With a bow?
Yeah, I know the number. How old are you?
51 with a bow.
I thought it was 57.
No.
But 51
No,
deer with a bow on public
That's
land.
legit. That's no joke.
No, I mean, I killed that one right there. Dogs were on it with a bow on the management area.
The dogs were running it.
Yeah. Yeah.
House dogs.
Yeah. House dogs.
I got a
Yeah.
picture on that
Well,
club
hey,
the
it
other day
wasn't
like
some
that.
Great Pyrenees, was it?
No, it was
but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Man, I was about to say some people that hunt around here know exactly what you're
It
talking
was a
about.
Rottweiler.
So now you.
It was a Rottweiler. God. And a red dog. And there was a little hound in the back. That was in the back. And he was the only one that was barking. And here's a story for you now. So I'm with the guy that I work with. You know, and he's new into bow hunting. It's December 18th. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I hear it. And I'm like, I sent him a text on my little flip phone. I didn't even have a damn iPhone. Hey, be ready. He's like, why? Because of the dog. And I'm like, yeah. So flip my phone back down, stick it in my pocket. I look, come across this road. Here comes a buck. And I'm like, okay, well, he's coming down this way. So he gets down, and I draw back, as he's coming, he gets about 50 yards. I go ahead and draw back and look his way. He's coming down the trail, and I was just like, stop, dead still, 20 yards, hammered. And he goes back towards the road. Well, here comes I see the dog parade. And
They're going to fight it for you.
no, and I sat there for 20 minutes. I knew that I just drilled him. I mean, it was 20 yards. Just how did we get on this tangent?
But that just goes. I mean, that goes to show you just, man. If you can
never know what's going to happen, man. It's like, it's so cool.
Well, back to what we're talking about, the Wizard, right? So the buck Eccles kills the big 160 something inch deer, right? Well, I shot at that. No, we can tell he's dead now. I shot at that deer 4 times the year before.
Okay.
But then
I can't wait to send this to Zach.
Oh, Zach's gonna be,
Yeah.
But then the deer that Michael killed that had that had the broke brow tine, right? That was
Pike killed? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So those 2 deer were homebody deer, right? They didn't leave that little, say, 20 acre, 30 acre section their whole lives unless it was to breed a doe. And then you got the deer like the Wizard, right? Who had like a turkey. You ever heard the old saying, like a tom turkey works a circle? Mm-hmm. So he's going roost here.
That's what they do. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what that Wizard deer did. He ran 4 main ridges. Yeah. And it was about a 4-mile deal that he did. Yeah. And it was just Mike was catching him every, 3rd or 4th day. You get a daylight picture of him.
I took Alan that morning. I put Alan in that tree that I hunted the weekend before. I want to say it was the day that the buck you're talking about got killed. Mm-hmm. And then the next weekend I moved a little bit. I put Alan in that tree I was in, and he said when he went in there that morning he could smell it. Mm-hmm. And then after I shot it, because I shot him early, and when I went down, when I got close to him, I was just like, I could smell him. I was like, yeah.
But I think Mike had, Mike hunted the deer for 10 days in a row.
He pushed him.
He pushed him
out. See, I thought we could get him on that.
Yeah. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You good.
I thought we could get him there, and I sat there, and it didn't feel right, but I knew it was.
And it's an obvious spot. It's an overlooked, obvious spot.
Yeah, it's where, they have to walk. I put Alan there, and I moved over a notch, and boom.
Yeah.
But the thing was, the day before, I passed 6 rack bucks.
Yeah. So we need to really talk about that.
I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah,
man.
Let's talk about that, because that's something that it kind of impacted me. Like this past hunt, I was hunting the same place. Had a rack buck come up. I jumped him.
Jacob,
and I'm looking at him through the scope, and I'm like, he's not Andrew. You can cut this. He's not a shit buck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to shoot him. Like, he's a good deer. He's like a deer I killed in 2020, but he's not like
You tell him what you think a shooter buck is after you get some of the story.
Yeah.
How you know what a shooter buck is.
So, but let's talk about that. I want to talk about the idea of like letting like some of these bucks walk. If this is your goal to shoot a bigger buck,
yes.
Some guys are just like, I just want to kill a good rack buck. Other people, or maybe like Scott, like yourself, and especially Nick, it's like, I want to kill like either a certain age class, or I want to kill a certain, size buck, or whatever that looks like. And you got to let some of these deer walk. And you kind of mentioned, actually, before we started recording, the whole idea of like, if a deer comes through before like 9 o'clock, it's like a bonus deer. And like the whole idea of like, the bucks are moving, don't go ahead and just shoot the first decent buck that comes out. Like, hold it out, because you might have a really good opportunity. So, I mean, what is your take on all that, especially after hunting an area like this?
If it's prime time, for us, it just so happens that it's mid-December. If you're seeing young bucks right off the bat, you've got to figure out
they're on their feet and they're moving.
Yes, they're on their feet and they're moving. But you've got to have a standard, just like, it's just like, well, our standard on the management area is that we're hunting trophy bucks. We're not hunting a legal deer. We're not hunting a basket rack 8-point. We're not. And I guess what I'm saying is, if you see a couple of bucks early, you need to just buckle down and say, I want to kill the biggest buck I've ever killed in my life.
Their biggest buck moves from 10 to 2
yes.
on public.
And just sit, And like I said, the day before, I saw 6 bucks. I did see another buck that I couldn't get on, and it was that, oh, shit moment. I mean, just sorry. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. But now, when that happens, you've got to have the right equipment, and you got to be familiar. You have got to have a shooting stick. You have got, because, you're talking 300, 350 maybe.
Yep.
So now you're giving away. So I'm going to ask a question.
Yeah.
And you can give it away. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I got 3 kids that can't hunt that much anymore.
What's that?
Would you rather see 40 yards or 400 yards?
With a bow?
No, we're talking about with a rifle. That 90
with that shooting stick.
90% of our weekend hunters, like you and me, are now.
I will take 400 yards every chance I get to go now.
And you'll hear all these guys talk about, you can't kill a big deer on a gas line, right? You can't kill a big deer on a power line.
You need to be able to see,
but you can see. And if you get these certain 2-week windows out of the year, you get to where you can see the furthest you can see.
Yes.
And guess what? Yeah, you're going to see some other hunters possibly.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest deer I killed was because of other hunters.
Right.
And you can play that into your factor. A big mature buck is going to let somebody walk 10 feet from them. And you'll never see them. You'll never know they're there. You get out of sight from that deer. He's going to get up and he's going to ease back.
Mm-hmm. He's going to lay where he wants to lay where he knows you're going to come to.
I really want to talk about that. When we were talking, you mentioned several times, hunt the people, hunt the hunters. Jacob,
I got to
what
bring
you
it
got over there?
So we're talking about this, talking about like sitting like, where you can see 400 plus yards. There's a spot, and I'm sure y'all maybe have hunted it too in the past.
I've been there.
This is I guarantee you have, without a doubt. And
Look at him, he's serious.
it's one of these. It's one of these spots you can see for a very long range out to actually about 800 plus yards. And there's some guys sitting on that far hillside from me, opening day.
This year?
No, this is a couple
Look
years
at
ago.
them looking at each other.
And hopefully it wasn't you guys, because y'all be gonna be really upset when I tell this story. There was three guys. It wasn't you guys. There's three guys sitting right there on that hillside at 8:30 in the morning. They got down and went down to the creek bottom. Within 15 minutes, he was a half rack buck, but he had a monster one side and like spike on the other, broke off the other side. Came out. I mean, within 10 minutes of those guys dropping to the creek bottom, came out from the same side.
He's probably laying there all morning.
And then he started walking across, and I did my very best to try to put a shot on him. I probably put a bullet probably 6 feet in front of him, like down below him.
You're talking about lobbed one.
Yeah, lobbed one. And
That was on that spot.
y'all know exactly what it is. I guarantee you. If we talk about it,
It's on the other side of.
Yeah.
Great big creek bottom.
y'all are, Anyway, so that was definitely one of those things, like you said, like hunting pressure. That deer clearly, I feel like, moved because those guys went down that creek bottom, bumped that deer. He circled up and came right across and gave him a shot opportunity.
Yeah.
About 300 yards farther than what I'm probably comfortable shooting.
The biggest buck I ever stuck and didn't recover was because of someone spooked them. There were two. It was opening day of bow season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two bucks that were moved my way.
That was a legit 170-inch deer.
He was huge, man. He was it was non-typical. He was typical on his left and non-typical on his right. And it's one of those things that'll haunt me forever.
Yeah.
It happens,
but if it, not to cut you off, but if it's the rut, that's one thing. You throw everything to there. But either pre-rut or post-rut, which is kind of what we're in right now. I don't know when this will air. But there's human pressure that'll make it move. Yep. And there's a wind change that'll make it move. So that, like, everybody thought this weekend, man, was going to be
on fire. Yeah.
On fire. Yeah. But what you didn't realize is we've had the same wind for 4 or 5 days in a row. Then I've seen some big deer when this happens. This is something that the listeners can take is like when you see that switch of wind direction, you see 4 days of north, and then all of a sudden it switches out of the south, and you're like, oh, man, it's going to be 50 degrees in the morning. Well, guess what? When that wind shifts, that buck's going to change from this location to the other location.
Move over here.
And not just the buck, but deer in general. Does do the same thing. Does are a lot more predictable than bucks. And Scott put me onto this many years ago. Is like when you get into your particular rut, whether it's, and I went to college in Missouri, so I've hunted the Midwest 5 or 6 years, and it's easier to pattern a deer in the Midwest than it is in the South. But you can hunt doe groups, and around here and around Alabama, typical doe groups 4, 5. Yeah. You may have 1 fawn, 2 fawns, but that first full moon, of your particular set of rut, that first 3 days before and that first 3 or 4 days after, I mean, that's the time. If you can get a wind shift in that, dude, you better be hunting. Take your vacation days, blah, 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 blah. And we've had success hunting doe groups around our set of rut. Yeah. And then you look back on it and
those bucks will come from
just like
a mile away.
Just like that 21-inch 9-point, right?
Yeah.
The guy had that deer on camera a mile and a half away.
Yeah, he's on a hunt club. That's how
3 days before.
He's like, I had pictures of that deer. Yeah. And then you killed one that was basically a twin, basically bigger than that one.
And I killed the one you're talking about.
It was about half a mile away.
But I killed that one off. What we're talking about, people pressure. And so
everybody can get their mind blown. It's like, oh, somebody walked in, somebody did this, somebody did that. And you just need to sit back and just say, bring it, sucker. Come on. Yeah. This is a moment. where it might turn your day around.
So
man.
do y'all have the mindset if you see some guy walking around maybe at a couple hundred yards from you, you're like, you don't have the mindset like, oh crap, my hunt's ruined, but like, okay, get ready, like something could happen. I
Exactly.
mean, what's y'all's take on that? Because I think so many people see
I
somebody
mean,
walking on them and they're like, man, it's over.
You can evaluate the situation and kind of figure out, last year, I mean, the first, if you want a story.
Where you shot that wizard at, big boy?
Yeah. The first buck I saw last year, he come up right up behind me. I heard him come right up behind me. It was a little bit wet, but he was broke off on one side. He was 4 on the left. His right was broke off. And I was just like, daggone, 10 yards. I'm like, yeah, I can tell. So he goes on down the hill towards the creek.
Glasses on.
Well, I've got glasses now, so they're in trouble, man. We could go into when I shot his ass. I was just like, I shot a heavy 8-point.
But so the half rack buck comes 10 yards from you.
He comes in and he goes down the hill. And I start glassing, and I'm watching. He goes down toward the creek, and I was just entertaining myself. And lo and behold, I look to the right and I see this guy coming, and he's got his orange and everything. So I take my hat. I'm like, wait, hey, somebody over here, put it back on and look down. I'm like, well, I'm not worried about it. I wasn't going to shoot the deer, Well, he comes on down and he's got this chair, and he puts his chair and he sets it down. And I'm like, and I've got, flashing my light at him and everything. I'm like, come on, man. Well, all this is going on. And lo and behold, I'm doing all this like, woo, hey, somebody over here. The buck walks out in an opening right between he and I. And there's a bunch of rocks down there. And I'm like, this is not a good situation. It takes me back to the people. Like, aren't you worried about getting shot? That was the one time I almost got shot. And finally, I was just like, are you as deaf as you're blind? Just letting the buck gone.
Yeah.
But that was a trip. Yeah.
But the one we think's a brother, that 9-point. So I shot an 8-point, and this is back to what we were talking about earlier about people pressure. And so this particular cutover, that was 2 or 3 years ago. Now I could spend a little time in the afternoons. And what I do is when I left work, I would pick out a gate and I'd walk that gate and just look tracks. And I did that for 2 weeks straight.
Tracks, man.
And so I found this one gate that had a mature, it was the only mature buck track I found, but he had crossed 5 or 6 times. So I know he was living in that particular cutover. Well, it just so happened this particular cutover was pretty dadgum pressured. But it was bow season. Opening day of gun season was Saturday. Nobody had been in there. And I said, well, I'm going to get
it. Rained.
And it had rained. And there's literally gates surrounding this thing. And so the mindset was, I'll be the first one to the gate. I'll get there at 3:00. It doesn't matter. Right. So I knew that if I could get there and if I could get up in the tree that I wanted to get in, and he's going to be there with this particular wind, I feel like. The cutover's facing west, and we've got a west wind, and there's a particular land feature on that side that he can put his back against. And so he's got that wind coming from behind him, right? And all the gates are on the back side of it. So this rain stops at 9:00, and dude, I'm sitting in the tree from daylight to 9. I've got my Gore-Tex, Bass Pro Shop fishing black rain suit on. I'm like, dude, I'm sitting here. Like when they get out and they get to their stand, whatever deer, the mature buck, he's coming to me. And this is the only time a plan comes together 1 out of 75 times. But this is one time it did. And so 9:00, the rain stopped, and I could literally hear the car door shutting from 3/4 mile away.
Yeah.
And first car door shuts, and man, it wasn't 10 minutes. I'm watching, and all of a sudden I just see this rack, and he's just galloping. And he runs, 200 yards from me, and man, there's a long story to this, but I'm not going to make it long. I told it earlier, but
told it before we started recording.
It's classic.
It ends up shooting him, but that's also what made it click. Is like, hey man, there's a 5.5-year-old deer, and the particular management we're talking about we're going to say there's 25.5-year-old deer that live on it. And to kill one 5.5-year-old deer, like, that's something special. That's what gets me pumped up, whether it's a 6-point or 168-inch 17-point.
Yeah. Yep.
But to kill that mature deer, and to the guy that wants to go out there and shoot that 2.5-year-old 6-point, if it's a legal deer, dude, I'm just as tickled pink. But
if he's excited about it, that's it. That's exciting. Anything, man.
And I helped the guy drag one out.
Passionate about hunting, man. Whatever.
And
take what you want.
He pulled up.
But make your just like I said, find your groove. And find what you.
It was a guy that wasn't from around this area, and he had just. It's probably from this podcast, to be honest with you. And so I'm sitting at the gate, and he pulls up, and he introduces himself, and he's like, man, this is the only place I've looked. Deep down, I'm like, are you kidding me? But I was like, man, yeah, more, I kind of explained to him what was going on, and he told me where he was going. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I can go A, B, or C. And so I heard him shoot at like 7:30. And so I'm the one, I want to sit as long as I can. But I told him if I heard him shoot, I'd come help him drag. And he's going to do the same with me. So I'm sitting there and it's literally like 8:30. I'm like, good gosh, it's perfect. And so I go up there and the legal buck is 3 on one side. And he's fired up. He had shot a deer that had 3 on one side and was broke off on the other. And it was probably a 110-pound, year-and-a-half-old deer.
They were bad last year.
Fired up. And
that's all that matters.
Part of me was like, dude, are you kidding me? But then it's like, man, dude, I'm like, this guy's second buck he's ever killed. And he's 20. He's been hunting for 20 years. He's 40-something years old. And so I'm just as fired up for him as I am if I kill a big one, to be honest with you.
That's awesome, man. One thing that about you guys that I just that I really look up to, and that's really cool about how you guys go and hunt this area, is when you look at the area that we're all talking about on the map, and this is true for a lot of guys who live in the Deep South, is you look at the place and there's no shortage of good cover. No. There's good cover on every single ridgetop, and you're able to go out there and key in on where these deer are at and figure out how to kill them. So I guess my question is, how do you go about picking a spot? How do you go about, with all this thick cover, how do you figure out which thicket is the right thicket?
Well, that's like we were talking about. This particular management area, man, it hunts small. It hunts tight. There's roads.
Yeah.
There's only certain spots you can walk a mile and not hit a road. There's certain sections that you can walk and you can drive a truck, and in 1 hour you can cover that whole section.
Yeah.
And so you just look for those buck tracks that cross the road, and then you let Scott know, you let Mark know. And you cannot necessarily wolf pack it, but you're hunting. You've got a 300-acre block that's got 6 drainages and 6 draws.
Yeah.
Well, the terrain's going to dictate
and the wind,
what they're doing
and the people pressure. So you got 3 factors right there. You got people coming in the top. You got the wind coming east to west. Well,
and it takes you back to, okay, they're in this area. That they're in this part of their little orbit, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's so different from bedding, going to bedding, going to feed, just back and forth, where, a lot of the people in the Midwest, and it's wide open. I mean, this is wild deer, honeysuckle, acorn eating.
Yeah. Just pine
deer,
thicket.
Man. Yeah.
I'm talking about pine goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to cuss the pine, and I love the pine now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you?
But now I will say the demise of the white oak dropped their weights from 225 to about 180, 190.
Yeah.
It's at that's I hate to see that, but the horns are still there.
Scott, what do you like about hunting pines now? After doing it now, since landscape has kind of changed, like what do you like about it now?
When they cut them.
I mean, is that pretty much it? Like that kind of rotation?
No, I mean select cut, clear cut. Yeah.
Do you put those two on kind of an equal pedestal? Select cut pines, where like Nick was saying earlier, you got like a 25-year-old pine stand.
Oh, there's
Good
times. There's times with the honeysuckle and the vines that are in the once it's thinned, once it's select cut.
Yeah.
Once that the briars and the honeysuckle starts coming in. A lot of people, they're always drawn to, we got acorns, hardwoods, you get into pretty places. Well, I like to hunt places that aren't that pretty, and then the like the select cut with all the vines and stuff. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And you put that on equal footing with like a fresher cutover. Let's say a 2-year-old cutover.
A 2-year no, put me in the cutover. I like, man. You
got that sage grass coming in,
dude. I was so enamored with archery all my life. I mean, archery and bow hunting has been my life, and I went through a long period where I didn't even really enjoy gun hunting, and now
I was wondering if that was Andrew, because that's something.
Man, I love me a rifle hunt.
All right. And with that said, I freaking love it now.
But
man.
what happened to that 179 typical that you couldn't shoot with your bow? I'm a rifle hunter. Just so the listeners know.
You're a freaking killer is what you are. You don't give a damn.
But back to what Scott was saying, is that you can find all this pretty, I'm giving some stuff away right here. So you can find all this pretty sign down in these hardwoods, right? But after a little bit of pressure gets going, it takes a doe for you to see a buck in them hardwoods, right? So all this nasty stuff that Scott talking about, it took him years to learn this. We've got social media and everything now that people can tell you, their experiences, but he learned it on his own. And when I first started hunting this particular public land, all through high school, man, that's what I did. I could go out there and I could find some of the biggest sign you've ever seen, and I'd sit on it. Now, scrapes are a little different story out here, especially if they're in the pines, but like he's talking about hunting this nasty thick. It's either nasty thick or you get where you can see a country mile. And that's what it boils down to. And yeah, there'll be some bucks killed in hardwoods. Don't get me wrong. But
everyone, though, that is, if you ask the guy the story on it,
yeah,
a doe just slipped through and he's coming in right behind it 90% of the time.
But it's just another open area. Once it gets into the rut, it's just an open area where they just so happen
throw
to be.
it out the window when it's a rut.
Yeah. Once the leaves are gone, they're gone.
Yeah. But I think
you can
that's what
count on that.
I think that's what you were getting at when you were talking about it.
Yeah. The ugly areas, man. And that goes all the way back to where we were talking about, well, how do you deal with checking in and everything? Well, hey man, when I go out there, I'm doing my thing and I know where I'm at. I know that there's not really a whole lot of other people hunt. Well, it's not so much now.
Well, there were 6 of us in one truck, and we had 7 other vehicles parked. He didn't tell you that.
That's a strategy. We talked
about that a couple times.
Yeah.
That was back in their heyday. I wasn't with them back then.
No, but I get some unorthodox places, and I like them, and I can see a lot.
What's some unorthodox
we'll have to
strategies
take you.
you have?
We'll take you to, because I think we can trust you too, and show where you hunted.
Oh, you know how open I am, man. That's what I'm saying. Nick's my handler. He'll keep me.
He's your PR.
He'd be like, shut the.
Just like
Yeah, but
he's over here about to unplug this microphone. He's like, hold on.
He's like, whoa.
But I feel like Jacob's me, because Andrew,
Yeah.
that's your handler. Jacob's your handler.
Hey, man, this is why you need a good hunting partner, man. I'm telling you.
And
dude, he told me a story one time of like how this listener walked in on him, or like actually drove in on him as he was looking at something. And he was like, I guess, sharing some details. He walks in the woods and
I didn't share nothing with that guy.
Okay, I think he did. And then the listener drove around to the other side and walked in back on Andrew where he was set up.
Yeah.
On. And I'm like, listen, you shared.
No, I didn't say anything to that guy. I really didn't.
But let me
But
ask
he caught me.
I can't
Just
even,
him seeing where I was, I think, was enough. Because I was trying to get hidden. I was trying to jump in the woods, but he crested the hill. I was like, oh,
I'm that
man.
kind of guy, dude. If I hear a car running and I'm walking a gravel road or something that's a drivable road, I'm getting hidden.
But that
I'm
was
taking Blaze.
That was one
this
of
might
those
sound terrible.
situations, man.
taking an orange. Yeah. Oh no, I sit in some places where I'll take.
Because that guy pulled up and I was talking to him for 2 or 3 minutes. He's like, do you do the Southern Outdoorsman podcast? I was like,
Jesus.
I'd say nope.
No, I've never heard of it. What is it?
What is that?
Yeah.
Maybe I should go subscribe to it.
But like Scott was saying, talking about getting walked in on. How many times have you been walked in on when you hunt those ugly places? Zero.
None.
But when we
Zero.
hunt these places, we can see 400 and 500 yards. Yeah, you got to put that in your mindset. If it's easy enough for you to carry a climber in and climb a tree, anybody and brother can do it. But when we're walking to these, and they don't have to be, they can be 10 yards off the highway, but they're overlooked nasty stuff, right? I've never seen anybody. But when I go and play my cards to where I think a buck is so-called betting, I know for a fact that somebody's going to have to get him up if it's not the rut. So I put that mindset in there. I try to think positive. If I park at a gate and I walk down a road and I'm going to sit on that road, I know there's a chance somebody's going to walk past me. So be it.
And see, the buck we talked about, I guess, on last week's Friday breakdown, I had a buck get up this past weekend. It was a big deer. He was a really big deer. And he came out of a range, out of a clear cut, coming down to the opening that we were hunting. And I was wondering if there was a guy that came in north of us and kind of walked in and potentially bumped that deer.
Maybe pushed him to
exactly
pushed him
happened.
out. And because he came in making a scrape, spending a lot of time in the whole 9 yards. And, it's super interesting when that all comes together. But also, when you're thinking about, guys like you all that have success, hunting areas like this, it's really kind of interesting kind of seeing what kind of, plays together strategy-wise and tactic-wise compared to a lot of these other people that we've talked to when it comes to maybe like less pressured pieces of public land. Because the thing is, like where you guys hunt at, where we have some experience hunting at, there's so much pressure. It's kind of unreal at certain times of the year when specific hunts happen or when someone kills a specific deer that gets posted on social media.
And then you got 20 guys that send you trout cam pictures of that deer.
Absolutely. Like give me an example.
At the Wizard.
Like the Wizard or like the Eccles buck, stuff like that.
Well, you never knew that deer was killed. Oh, yeah, you did. My bad.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, definitely knew. But again, it was one of those things like I was never even hunting in the general area where that deer was at. Because again, Pike was trying to kill him. I'm like, okay, go kill him, dude. I'll go kill. Go give me that 120-inch 8-point. We'll go find that deer.
I want to talk a little bit about that too, because right when we got started, we were talking about the Wizard a lot, and we were talking about Michael. God bless him, posting some pictures on social media, and you fellas use that to your advantage a little bit.
I was Nick took care of that. But it started with a stolen.
The full story of the Wizard.
Come on, let's tell the story of the Wizard.
Let's tell it, but also like how you've had history with that deer for a few years.
Okay, yeah, we'll start it. And Scott chime in.
He's a super impressive deer. I mean, that right G4 is like
13 and a quarter.
Yeah, just
man, it's just so cool seeing him in person too, man. I mean, it is.
But
really
that's
cool.
the thing about it. Like we're all getting something out of it, right? Even though Jacob didn't kill it, Nick didn't kill it.
That's what it made it so big. To me, I shot. I knew.
We'll wait till the end.
Yeah,
and we'll come into that.
Yeah.
So this deer, anyways, was not in a hard to reach location. I got a picture of this deer when he was 3.5 in September. Blah 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 blah. Didn't probably had 10 or 11 inch G2s as a 3-year-old, and then Mark, the guy that I didn't hunt him. I mean, whatever. So that's the year I killed the
that was Bo. Bo.
So Mark gets a picture of this deer as a 4-year-old, a video, and he's probably 135 or 140. Good deer. Well, long story short, we knew the general area this deer lived in, and it was Thanksgiving.
That
so he's
circle.
making a circle, So it's Thanksgiving, and y'all had posted pictures, y'all had posted videos of this deer, and I had been in the area and I had found some very, very big sign. And I knew that, hey, that's going to be the deer. That's the 3.5, 4.5. He's 5.5 now. That's him, right? I never hung a trail camera. Scott hung 2 trail cameras a quarter mile from what we thought was like his main area. Mm-hmm. And so I go in there during, I think it was Thanksgiving. I can't remember. We'll just say Thanksgiving. And the woods are tore up. And so I'm like, Scott, dude, you got to go check your cameras. You got to check your cameras, see what's on them. So he goes in there, check the cameras, and his cameras are gone. Somebody's stolen his cameras.
One was gone. I had another one.
One
I had another one on down below there, but
and that's
that
the
one was
first
gone.
time we've ever had a camera stolen. So I'm mad. I'm like, who the heck is going to steal the camera where it was at? And so he tells me that. I'm like, dude, I'm going back out there. Like, I got to, I'm going to look at boot tracks, blah, 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 blah. I'm going in full.
We got Detective Nick over here.
I'm going in full.
Man.
If you have a mud tire, I can tell you exactly what tread pattern is and what tire
I'm
it
bad
is.
about that too.
And so
oh, man.
I go back out there and the gate's open. Mm-hmm. And it's a gate that I keep it shut, but it's not like a no vehicle gate, right? And so I'll just pull it too, just so I can keep tabs on who's in and out. Somebody going in, the gate's open, yes. Mm-hmm. So anyways, there's fresh tracks and the gate's open. I'm like, yes, I've got the guy that has stolen the camera. so I bebop on back through there. And anyways, it's this particular truck, and I don't know it. I take a picture of it. I'm like, I got you now.
Super noticeable
He
truck.
sent me a picture. It's just like, I got him. Yeah. This is our guy.
Most noticeable truck on the management area for sure.
So I get back and I shut the gate, and I think I put like a stick through where the light goes or something, just to let somebody know that I was there. And so
send a message.
That night I get on Facebook, Instagram, I'm digging, and finally I come across this truck, and I think it was on Andrew's Facebook page, and I'm going through everybody that I've ever heard of that hunts. I'm trying to figure this out, and it's like the background.
Boop, boop.
Boop, boop.
Yeah.
The Bud Light speaking. So
anyways, bleep that out. And
I got you, man.
so anyways, I call Andrew. You remember that, don't you?
I remember you
What,
said
you called Andrew?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you get his number?
Oh, yeah.
I Facebook messaged him. He
Yep.
said, "Hey, what's your number?"
That's what I'm telling you, man.
I'll sit
Yeah,
down.
sit-
All right.
Yeah, that's
Jacob
what
said that just got
It's
interesting.
getting interesting.
That's what I said. I said I just reached out to these guys, and and I'm like, what? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I tell Andrew kind of what's going on. He's like, dude, Mike didn't steal. I promise you, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know the Southern Outdoorsmen podcast. I don't know anything. And I'm
Man,
kind of
I
like,
forgot about that.
yeah. And so I got a dude.
Yeah,
I've
that's
got,
how we were introduced. I was like, I
a
gotta listen to these
photographic
guys.
memory. Like, dude, y'all have no idea. And so, anyways,
Oh, man.
that's the same day this wizard video is posted, like literally that same evening. And so I'm even more mad now because he's told me whose the truck is. And then this guy's the Southern Outdoorsman. They posted a picture, and I can tell where the trail camera's at, and it's this deer. And I'm like, oh my God, now everybody knows about the deer. My camera got stolen. Somebody's in there helping my spot. And so, long story short, I talked to Mike and figure out, like, dude, this is a jam up guy. Like,
Yeah, you could tell right off the bat.
he's
And
not
I
stealing a
actually went,
camera.
and that was the first episode I listened to
Right.
where he was.
Oh, we were all in it.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just like,
And y'all been listening ever since. There we go.
yeah. It was cool. But
that's
I was
funny.
like, nah, this guy's not out to steal no camera. He's a real hunter.
That's hilarious,
He's
man. I
but
forgot
the-
about that. I did the same thing to you. You called me, and I was like, all right, who's this cat? And I started looking you
I
up.
don't post stuff on Facebook.
I
Like,
know.
you don't
is low
see
that-
many.
And that's the vibe I got because I was looking. I was
he
looking
just,
everywhere I
he's
could.
just he's just trolling everybody. He's
Dude,
just,
I
he's
couldn't
got,
find
I've got
anything.
this, bro.
You do a
Yeah.
good job, man.
Yeah.
Rolling
Yeah.
dark. I'm telling
So anyway, Mike, he's doing a nursing thing and blah 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 blah, and he's like, man, I'm taking off 10 days of work. And I'm like, dude, like I got 15 other places I can hunt, man. Y'all go kill the deer, right? And he's telling me he's got all these trail cameras in there, and so me and my buddy that y'all would know, I'll say his name when we get back off of the air. So we go back in there, and I've put some cameras up to catch the guy that stole his camera. And so I go in there and I pull the cameras out, and long story short, this deer's got it tore up, and I'm just like killing me, and I'm like, dude, I've told you.
Yeah, that was that one time we went back in there. It was tore up.
I mean, there's scrapes every 10 feet on that.
It was tore up, and right where he had that one of those last pictures, it's like, I know exactly where that's
Was
at.
it mostly that deer, or was there other deer in there working it, or was it mostly him just leaving a ton of sign? Do you think?
That's hard to say.
No, I mean, there was a lot of deer.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was it's an edge.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
all those edges come together right there.
But he was
It's just, you know, that's where the sign's going to be.
Yeah.
That dude was one of those that had a big home range, but that was just where he left his sign at. You know what I mean? But to get back to the wizard story on how we ended up killing him is Mike hunted, I think 9 or 10 days in a row. And honestly, he pressured it. And I was like, if he doesn't kill the deer, we're going to have a chance to kill it because we're not going to hunt him in there. Scott's got enough knowledge to know where deer...
I was just staying on the edges.
Yeah,
you know?
where deer go.
Yeah.
And so I used that to my advantage and was like, man, like, I'm telling him about this deer, and he's like, well, okay, he can either go this way or this way. And if he goes this way, he's probably already going to be killed by now because a lot of people hunt this way.
Yep.
If he goes left, not a lot of people hunt. It's kind of what he's talking about, that nasty overlooked stuff. But there's a opening through that nasty stuff that people do hunt. But you got to be on your game. It's about a 15-yard wide opening, right? And if he steps out, you got him in a split second. And so Scott was like, man, I'll sit there. Alan sits here. And I was like, well, I'll go to the north side and I'll just see what's going on in there. And I'd be doggone if it wasn't 30 minutes into because Mike, I think it was a Thursday, man. He bounced out, and I went in there Friday and said, dude, I see a little bit of stuff, but everything's on the west side of it. Everything's close to the road.
He got pushed out.
I think he's got pushed out.
He got pushed out. I had that one
Mike,
camera there.
And Mike posted that picture of that deer. He was 15 minutes behind or 15 minutes in front of him.
Yeah,
Like
15 minutes behind him. That's what it was.
And that's when it was like light bulb. Like the deer's, he's gone. And so the next morning was Friday, and I went in there and confirmed kind of that, man, it just wasn't fresh. And Scott was like, well, here's where he's either going to be. It's either going to be A or B. And I mean, he shot him 20 minutes after daylight, and I heard the kaboom and just knew. And like, he called me and he said, dude, I don't know what deer I shot, but it's a good one. And when he says that, I'm like, okay, you killed the wizard. Like, he's dead. Yeah. And so I get down there. I mean, you got to think, this is a 55-year-old man that just shot one of the biggest deer he's ever killed in his life. And I get down there to him, and Alan has already found the deer with him. And Scott's just like crying, like he's just freaking fired up. And he's like, I'm sorry I shot the... I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I'm like, we got him. Like, the dude stole our cameras. Mike's hunting him. You know, the Southern Outdoorsmen, everybody in the state of Alabama.
It made it big, man.
I was like, everybody in the state of Alabama knows
about this deer.
And then I was like, well, we can't say anything about it.
Oh, man. It was so funny because when I shot him, you know, I knew it was a heavy 8, and I mean, I had to disengage. I mean, it was, you know, come down out of a climber, it was cold. It was like 26.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was like 26. Shucked everything off, went off this hillside, down across a watery divide, and went over on the...
That's fine.
And I got over there, and the thing about it was he didn't drop. Normally, 7 mag, they normally drop, but
if you hit him in the shoulder, he hit this deer in the shoulder and it didn't drop.
Yeah, but he did his kick and everything, and I was just like, yeah. But he ran like 25 yards and like went back down the hill. But when I saw him, I was just like, oh my God, it's the wizard. You know, I didn't know when I shot him. That was just like everything came rushing in, and it's because of the whole turn of events. You know, it was so cool to be like, you know what, I ended up killing that deer. You know,
And where he died at, it all clicked.
Yeah.
Because it was a certain green bush
Oh, I know.
that doesn't grow in many places.
I know exactly what you're talking about now.
But if you can find it on this particular management
Dude, he was
area.
walking in some nasty stuff. He
So
was
we
walking
just-
in some
We just
nasty,
gave you two the juice.
nasty.
Oh yeah,
It was
I know exactly what you're
nasty
talking about.
where he was walking. But that also goes back to when you're given that opportunity, you got to be able to capitalize
That's a
quickly.
That's a good point of this podcast. Like executing a shot at distance in
Yes.
a very short window of time, like literally less than 5 seconds, be able
Yes.
to execute a shot 300 plus yards.
Yes.
Know your
It's-
equipment, know your setup.
It's crucial, man. It is crucial that you're able to, and you're never going to be 100%, but your shooting stick anchored down.
And my dad, we hunted we had a piece of property, we had 1,000 acres, and we had, I shot whatever when I was a kid, but when I was about 14 or 15, it was at the point where he was like, look, 8-point better, quit shooting 6 points that are, year and a half, 2.5 years old. I said, well, how am I going to know it's a shooter? How am I going to know it's a shootable deer? He said, don't tell your mom I told you this. He said, but when you see a deer and you go, OSH, and you grab the guns, your first instinct, that's when you know
key.
it's a shooter.
That's key.
And so it's the same way hunting
is
public
key.
for me now is, dude, I've taken binoculars, but if I reach for my binoculars is the
It's not
first
big
thing
enough.
I do,
Yeah.
I'm
big
not
enough.
shooting it.
Yeah, I never
Yep.
laid binoculars on him, and I saw another buck.
Yep.
That takes me back. That goes
before.
back to the day before. I saw 6 rack bucks.
Yeah, you shot it on a Sunday morning. I'm sorry.
I shot him
Yeah.
on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Saturday,
That's right.
I saw 6 rack bucks there, and I was so close to killing an 8-point that was maybe 14 inches wide. They was chasing a doe, and then finally come up the hill and it got up there about 50 yards. It was about 10:45 in the morning. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot this deer. It's right there. I'm gonna get out of here. And it goes back to figure out what you really want from what do you want from what you're doing.
now you'll
and
have
I-
some slip ups. Don't get me wrong.
Well, no, everybody has their slip ups. I got glasses now, though.
So we'll send you a picture this Saturday of
yeah.
Scott slip up.
My
with his
next,
glasses.
slip up. But no, I was just like, no, don't shoot. And I walked away. I walked away that day, and I talked to Alan that night, and it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I was just like, I don't know. He's just like, man, go back there. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I went back, and the next morning, 6:55, boom, there he is. First deer I see.
But if you talk to anybody, you've got your guys that kill the lucky bucks, what I call them. But if you take your Michael Perry's, what's the guy that's down south of us that hunts the wolf pack?
West Moe.
West.
Yeah.
That group of guys, right?
Yeah,
They're consistently big deer killers,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you can also ask them, hey, would you pass a 3.5-year-old 8-point?
Oh, they passed deer all the time. There was a deer we were hunting with him one time. He passed a giant 6-point. And I'm like, I would shoot that deer every single day.
A giant 6-point sight, dude.
No, he's terrible. He's terrible. He needs some lead in his finger.
He passed a 6-point one time we were hunting with him. And I'm like, I pray to God that deer walks by me. I pray to God.
But see, that's
because we're dragging it out, dude.
like a giant 6-point's the only thing I don't have counted. So if anybody in the state of Alabama listens to this and has like a 126, I'll give you good money to go.
They had some on that lease down there that they were. I'm looking at these.
He was
6
a 4.5.
and I'm just like, these 6 points are just like, I'm just like,
Huge.
boom.
He was
I'm just like, dude,
we had a
kill
115
that
inch
deer.
6-point that was a 4.5-year-old deer, but he was a homebody.
And
I
he's
was
out
like,
there just like, everybody get you some of this.
Yeah. But anyways, we make
baby.
He's spreading them jeans around, man.
But anyways, so he passed him, and the deer turns into 129 and 7 points the next year. So I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. Who can say they killed? I'm rounding up 130 and 7 points.
Yeah, man. Come on.
That was a big.
I know,
That was
the
a big
score's not
deer.
anything to me, but the deer had 26 or 27 inch beams.
Yeah,
Like, if you walk into this room and Scott's got 10, 15, 30 skulls, this 21 inch wide 7 point that scores 130 is you're gonna look at it first.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Is dude, I want to find that. I want to find a 130 inch 6 point.
There's a guy we interviewed. He killed deer in Missouri, Greg Staggs, and it was a 6 point. I think it was a 6 point, and it scored. Was it 140?
Yeah, it was like a giant.
Oh, I'd be tickled to
I mean,
death.
it was like the biggest
for
6
that,
point
man.
you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like, it's a 180 inch frame, 6 point that scored like 140. It is giant.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd take one of those right about now.
God.
Yeah. Well, no, he's. They had like 3 of them down there on that lease that were
Huge.
I was just like,
But
damn, bro.
that's to
I'd have been
every,
shooting
that's
that
to
dude.
his own. I guess that's the old saying. It's like, man, that's
Yeah.
what I want. And
Yeah.
heck, I got 3
I
of
don't
them.
care about. I don't care
And I
about
gotta-
score.
No.
I don't care, but the memories, and it's kind of like what the Wizard was to me. It's just like it's just like, wow, what a moment.
What a deer, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at him, and he is such an impressive deer. I mean, you got some extremely impressive bucks on the wall, but that deer, like, just because of how tight he is, I mean, in the
I
deer.
never would have dreamed he was that narrow. I would have figured he was 14, 15 inches wide, and he's 13 and a quarter.
Yeah.
And just, it tickles me because I know I'll never kill another deer like that,
Not with the story and the stuff behind it. And
Yeah,
everything.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
every one of these deer on Scott's wall, besides 1 or 2, are from this particular place, right, Scott?
Yep.
Yeah, they're all WMA deer.
Like that deer right there, that 8 point is super impressive.
Was
That wasn't the 2002 deer, that 154 inch deer. That was Mark killed that deer.
No, Mark's is 154. That's a 142.
8 point.
That was back
inch.
to that was killed from people. And that's
Yeah,
that's
that,
where I hunted there. That was
people getting bumped right at daylight going in.
that was
boom.
That
Hello.
was a 2006 deer. That was my senior year of high
2006,
school.
yeah.
I mean, 142 inch 8 point. That's a big one.
That's a big deer, boys. That's a really big deer. I gotta ask too. When it comes to y'all are talking about hunting like anywhere where you can see 300 yards with a rifle, especially in the rut.
Right.
What is it that makes you pick a spot? Because we might talk about like a power line or a gas line or a cutover.
Nick
But
Scorman.
what is it about that? Because there's a lot of guys out there who will just go sit anywhere where they can see 400 yards. How do you distinguish whether or not you're in the right spot when you're talking about being able to see so far? What makes one spot better than another where you can see 400 yards?
Well, you've got to know. You've got to know that area. It's hard to say you just go sit where you can see a lot. And it can happen. It can happen, but it goes back to that little orbit of
Orbit of movement.
And I mean,
where hey,
where is he
they're
at in
here,
his pattern?
They're here. Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Like
it depends on if you're familiar with the place you're hunting.
Yeah, you've got to.
So if
it starts there.
Yeah.
It's this orbit of their migration or whatever it may be that we're given here, but it goes back to finding the track. Okay, they're in here right now. Now get where you can see for a long way, where that they're crossing.
Yeah.
You got to confirm that they're using that area.
That they're in the area at the time you want to hunt it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Instead of just blindly going out there and just and you might go out there blindly and kill the biggest deer that.
Okay, so if I'm going blindly, like I was talking about earlier, that killing wind, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at my map, and if I've got a west wind, I'm going to hunt a gas line that faces north to south. That I don't know this particular public land, but I'm going to put myself in the best situation. I'm a crosswind, right? But in me and Scott's case and you guys' case, we know a particular piece of public pretty well. Well, we have done a little bit of scouting, but not a whole lot. But we know from past, there's does in this general area.
Yeah, the does
and
are
there's three
key.
different.
Yeah.
You know, the rut could be different 2 miles down a road, and y'all know that.
It's jacked up. It's jacked up here.
And the thing about it is that we've gotten decent enough to realize, okay, there's 3 sections of this particular place, and there's literally 3 different weeks that they rut.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you can bounce from boom, boom, boom for 3 weeks.
You got to be able to go and move.
So what we've determined is if these guys that hunt these, like the West Moe and the Michael Perry, they know this public land like the back of their hand because they've hunted all their life. They know what sections of it these doe groups come in heat. And all we do is bounce from section to section, and we hunt that off wind. And that's what killed the wizard. Pressure, like we said earlier. I mean, like human pressure, and then hunt that off wind.
Yeah.
And then if you can,
those deer were pushed over in there and
pressure.
It was, and it all goes back to somewhat pressure, whether it be immediate pressure or
season
something that happened, a week ago.
That brings up a spot, Andrew, where you could have shot that giant with a muzzleloader. That spot stuff exactly like what they're talking about.
Well, and another
pressure.
thing, talking about like the cycle of like how deer move through the area. I used to trap coyotes on this place when I was in high school. I wanted to
I
trap
bet you
so bad.
slayed on this place.
Well, so I used to run traps, and like I had a guy come out when I was like 16, and he ran a trap line out there, and he showed me how he did it. And then for the next like 2 or 3 years, whatever it was at high school, that's like all I did. Dude, during the rut, December, January, I was just running a trap line. I wasn't hardly deer hunting at all. And it was the same thing with coyotes. I would find tracks, and there'd be tracks coming down a road, and I'd be like putting out traps there. And I'd play the wind, and I'd look at the wind over the next like 4 or 5 days and where the wind would be going, and I'd place my trap accordingly.
Right.
And then 4 or 5 days later, when they cycled back through, like, bam, you start catching stuff. Yeah.
And you put like that Travis Murray guy, he's got it down pretty pat, right? But he's hunting some big pieces of property where a deer can mature. What we in Alabama have is we don't have those big pieces of property where a deer can mature. Now, you got these big landowners that do, but these public places, and I'll throw the Bankhead and Warrior out there. That is some remote stuff, and there's a couple other ones that we were talking about earlier that we won't throw the names out there. You go 2, 3, 4 days without seeing a deer, and then that 5th day,
you gotta hang with it, man. You gotta hang with it. Those days where you don't see, I never get frustrated when I don't see anything anymore. I don't, but it's like Saturday. I watched otters and kingfishers.
I sent him a text at 11. Said, "You see anything?" He said, "Otters and kingfishers."
I'm glad you said the same thing because I didn't see crap that morning. But keep going.
And you know what? I'm at the point where it's just like, hey, man, I love watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the old school, and
I am at a different point, bro. I want to really kind of get done. I want to get done real quick and go crappie fishing. That's what I want to do.
But I see these guys that hunt out there, and they're posting on Facebook, right? And it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and man, I'm just pretty much I'm in my tree, and my eyes are just now opening up. Right.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, anything before 9 or 9:30 is a bonus. But 9 times out of 10
to 11,
you hear these dudes with the glass packs and the cutoff pipes. And you can tell. You can tell when it's starting to go down. When these vehicles start cranking up and the gravel road starts popping,
it's about to get real.
Dude, I'm starting to stretch. Right. Like unless it's a rut. I mean that's par for the course anywhere. You ask anybody.
Well,
that
and you
hunts
get
Bama
out there,
public.
and you'll be in your tree stand. Like you'll get to a spot. We've talked about beating people to the stand. You'll be like in the woods at 4 a.m.
Yep.
and you start hearing the Orange Army descending on the place.
4:20 to 4:30. It is like the loudest
Dude,
noise.
these deer, it's like there's no way they know what's going on, man.
Oh, yeah.
When they hear this, like there's no way they don't know what's happening.
Same thing with a fish, man. Like Labe, or Smith, or Eufaula. They bite so much better at night during the summertime, and people don't realize why that is that all this boat traffic, you got recreation boat traffic, you got tournament bass fishermen from daylight to dark, and then all of a sudden at night, even the shad, they come back up in the water column and they push toward lights and this, that, and the other in ditches. And the same way with the deer, man. I've been out there like you guys.
That's when they get in those ugly places and
But
travel.
I hunted, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. I got out there at 2 a.m, right, to beat some stuff back to where I thought it was bedded. And I was in the middle of this management area. And y'all know it starts with a. And I was there in the tree at 3 o'clock. And dude, like you're saying, at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was unbelievable. It was a calm, cold morning, and you could hear trucks for miles and miles. And I said, dude, this isn't even worth it, right? But if you can figure out where something's bedding at, and it's just an area in Alabama, it's a bedding area, and that could be 80 acres.
It's not
bed.
specific. It's not specific
Because they'll jump back and forth a little bit. But if you can find that area you think they're bedded in, and you can hunt that pressure, then you can flip a coin on it. I mean, it's 1 out of 10 times that he's going to be there.
They're going to go to you just got to it's going to be a funnel. They're going to be funneled out, like coming into
but they'll pattern you, man, and that's the thing. It's a 10 to 2 deal.
Yeah.
It's, say 10 to 2, 10 to 3.
Yeah.
But you got to be there in the morning to.
Yeah.
It sucks sometimes.
Well, and it makes me wonder how many times, like if you're hunting that time of the day, someone is jumping a buck up. That's why he's coming through. Like this past Sunday, going into a spot, I saw a really big deer the day before, same piece of public we're talking about here. Went in and I was intentionally walking quicker to the spot than I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was walking through an area that the day before when I had my sister's boyfriend with me, I was like, get your gun ready because we could jump a deer up right here. I wasn't thinking that. I was walking through that spot pretty quickly. And all of a sudden I hear some deer get up. I'm like, dang, that kind of sucks. And I kind of side hill around this little knob. Next thing I know, I see this nice rack buck.
There it is.
Coming across this opening. And it wasn't one of those, deer, deer. So it wasn't one of those deer, but it was a good deer. It's a good deer like I killed it back in 2020.
If you've got to make a decision, you're just like, maybe not.
It was one of those like, I'm not taking a poke at him right now. But then behind him was another very large bodied mature buck, but had both main beams broken off.
Oh, he broke off.
Broke off and went down there and found a track, and he was a legit 4.5 finger track, just a really large track. And it makes me wonder, and that was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but bumped up from his bed as I was walking through there, going too quickly. It makes me wonder, like, how many times, if you're hunting that midday period, you get those guys kind of walking into these spots that are jumping these deer up, and they're just pushing them through an area, and then you might be catching them, not necessarily running through, but you kind of catch them kind of trotting through, coming through an area.
How many times have you gotten down out of your stand at 9 or 10 o'clock, and you take 10 or 20 steps, and a dadgum deer runs off?
Happened 2 weeks ago. Had a buck in Arkansas, day before rifle opener. Went to an area. I was hunting a levee. Right behind me was a slough and a big point coming out in that slough. I get down at 9:45 because I'm like, I'm about to scout my way through this area, go for 4 or 5 miles, scout through this area. Bow axes only. Second, I'm halfway down the tree. Deer blows out 30 yards from my kayak on this little point. Nice, very nice rack buck. Gets up and just takes off running. I'm like, damn.
Yep. But why don't you take the mindset, I'm going to drive around for that first hour, right? And I'm going to see where everybody's at. And then I'm going to hunt that 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. But and I can't do it anymore. I used to do it, but I got to pick if I want to hunt in the morning, I can hunt from daylight to 11. So that's just what I got.
Your time's limited now.
But somebody that has the time to do it, single, don't have kids.
Yeah, we used to put so many hours in like trail cutting.
But you just said it.
And that's part of
hours and hours.
Yeah, I mean, just out. I mean, we started. We actually started looking for sheds, in February, which I found that shed right there is from February 28th. Still had blood on it. From that into evolving into turkey season, just we were.
By the way, it's a monster shed, but keep going.
It's 27 and a quarter inch beam on, I think, that one over there.
Yeah, it's a big.
But yeah, Alan missed that one with his bow. He missed it with his bow. I found his shed.
Time in the woods.
Yeah, and I mean it's constant. It's constant. That's how we learn the place. That's why it's easier for us to run around and make sense of the way that they migrate around and figure out how to
and you got like not
make a very, very large piece of property smaller.
Smaller. Yep.
Yeah.
But you got 80% of the guys that hunt public, right? Either they not necessarily they can't afford it, but they don't get in hunting clubs. They don't have the passion or drive. They're just like, hey man, I just want to go kill a deer. And they see that $1,000 hunting club fee, and then they see the $18 public land fee. And so they're getting into it just to try to simply kill a deer. And they may not know as much as us or 50, 60, 70% of these listeners. And that's what I've always got to keep in the back of my mind, right? Is that, hey,
just got to be patient.
These guys don't realize there's a guy parked here. You can look at a map and figure out, oh, he's probably hunting right here. They don't realize that. They're parking there and they're 600 acres behind it. They're just going. And that's, if I park at a gate or somewhere, a parking area, and there's 1,000 acres, I'm expecting somebody else to park beside me and hunt. But when you park at a gate and there's a food plot a quarter mile on the other side of it, right? Chances of you getting walked in on if you're hunting that food plot's
pretty high.
Pretty decent.
On a very highly pressured piece of public.
What's that like?
It's probably 80%.
Listen,
I'm saying
it's pretty good off.
80%. But I'm just saying, I've just seen all these posts on Facebook and social media, people griping about being walked in on.
No, you got to be patient, man.
And
you got to let that slide.
Yeah,
you got to let that slide. You got to let that be. Take that mindset as like, okay, this is a positive because it's going to turn something around.
So it's like an area which we talk about. I'm trying to think when this episode will come out. It's last week's Friday breakdown.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. Or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. No. 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Well, anyways, the Friday breakdown, whenever that comes out from the previous week, we talked a little bit about this past opening day's hunt. I was hunting a spot with Gavin, my sister's boyfriend, that clearly nobody else was hunting. There was no people sign. Nobody was sitting on this part of this open area that we're talking about. And it was interesting to see how the deer were coming through this area in pretty high concentration. And it made me think that, like...
Where's it at?
Y'all will absolutely know if I brought it up. Y'all will know exactly where it's at.
Sorry, carry on.
I absolutely know where it's at. I guarantee y'all probably said it a few times. I'm not gonna lie. And there was a very big deer that showed up that afternoon. Just couldn't get shot. Yep, just bringing that up.
You're trying so hard.
Anyways, so it was interesting, though, that most of the hunting pressure, because there was other guys hunting on that road. We talked about where the Great Pyrenees and everything right there. Right? Yeah. Most of the other guys were hunting up the right-hand side of the road.
I feel like I'm missing something.
No, you're not.
No, you no. Nick knows exactly what we're talking about. Okay. Most of the guys are hunting on the right-hand side of the road. Well, we went to the left-hand side. And went to the spot, and there was no people pressure. And the thing is, it's an area you can't really get a climber in very easily. You could, but...
It's that 10 to 12-year-old pine.
Actually not. Actually not.
Was this Sunday?
You gone a little too far. But it's an area you can't really get a climber in very easily. You could get a climber in there, but you're kind of like limited on what you're doing. If you sit on the ground, you actually have a better
view,
better observation, the whole 9 yards. And it was just interesting because like the deer were coming through so natural that evening, and the next afternoon I hunted through, same situation happened, and it's just interesting because so many guys are like, I got to get elevated, I got to get in a tree, I got to get super high, and if you had that mindset, you would not sit that spot. You just you won't sit that spot. You'll go sit somewhere 300 yards from
I
that
sat on
location.
a rock Sunday morning for 4.5 hours.
Oh, I'm loving, man. Sitting in my gobbler chair. So much now. Yeah.
But that and that's another thing.
With a crossbow that is wicked.
Yeah. But take it, do that little bit of extreme, right?
Yep.
Hunt 10 yards off the asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rather than walking.
Yeah.
95% of people are either going to hunt.
Everybody talks about you got to go deep. You got to go deep. And I'm like, you got to go smart.
There you go. That should be the name of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go smart. And you got to be a little bit smarter than everybody that's
You either got to be
wanting
really
to go deep.
smart or really dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing is you hear so many guys, and I've talked to a few guys that have hunted this piece of public land who's killed some like giant deer, very large deer. And when I talked to him, and this one guy specifically, I'm coming to mind, he's killing a lot of these deer around clear cuts, but he's killing them in like very basic locations off the ground. Deer are actually coming from hardwoods going into the clear cuts, and he's killing some giant deer. And it's one of those areas that like, if you overthink it, like I got to get in deep, I got to get in far, you're going to walk into other hunting pressure.
Yes.
Versus if you're like, okay, how can I get creative with the setup, which is kind of like where I was at. Mm-hmm. Nobody's sitting right there. They're going a different direction, and they're sitting maybe within 300 yards of that
I'm not going to
location.
say it with these headphones on, but I'll tell you something right when we get off. Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. It's like so many people are like, I got to get away from hunting pressure. And the thing is like, you don't have to necessarily like think about distance. It's thinking about why, if someone was going to hike into that location to hunt, why would somebody overlook this specific spot versus go to like a more obvious location?
Well, put yourself in a deer's shoes, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody I have seen and I've smelled somebody 10 times. I'm a 4-year-old buck. I've smelled somebody 10 times up here. Mm-hmm. Well, during the summertime, I lollygag up here on this road all day long, and I don't have a care in the world. I don't smell anybody. All I do is I see a vehicle, but I don't ever smell anybody. Well, I'm just gonna live.
That's
right
why
here
they're always right there.
But it's so hard to hunt it, and it's so hard to sit there, and that's going back.
Bed by the sign-in box.
You may sit 3 or 4
by
days.
the old barn.
Yeah, you may sit 3 or 4 days.
That's
and not
the biggest buck on the place.
Yeah.
They're accustomed.
Yeah,
they're accustomed to you.
It's like Eccles' buck.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that's like, like in that spot we were hunting, it's guys. To give you an example, I actually had coon hunters come by me, which was surprising. I've never had coon hunters come by me. They had a hound out there talk, and I could hear them.
Coon hunter in daylight.
Not supposed to, but they were.
They were coming out
right at last light. I mean, it was probably 15 minutes of light left, and
so they were going in.
Oh Lord!
And I could hear them, and they were talking, and they got a hound out there, and he's covering some ground. I'm like, please, for the love of God, push the deer this way. I'm like, I got a rifle in my hand. I don't care.
Right.
And that never pushed a deer my way. But it's one of those areas that's like, people. It's funny how after seeing other guys that were hunting on that road for 2 days, because I've been in that spot 2 days in a row, they're hunting such obvious spots.
Right.
I'm like, you're not that you're overlooking. Maybe you got a big deer.
Overthinking.
They're overthinking certain things, and they're hunting spots that if you just got out of the mindset of I've got to get elevated or I've got to get
off the ground, you could be so much potentially. I didn't shoot a deer, but potentially you could be so much more successful if you decided, hey, I'm going to sit on the ground, I'm going to get in the area. I can still see a distance, but I'm not having that confidence of I'm 25 feet up a tree and I can see down through everything.
you got to get comfortable sitting on the ground and getting in a spot that you don't have a height advantage over the deer, but the deer coming through right.
I'll tell you this, me and Scott, our mindset is if we can see 40, if it's one of those nasty places and we can see 40 or 50 yards on the ground, that's where we go hunt on the ground. Or if it's somewhere that's in the middle of open, don't have a tree, obviously we're going to sit on the ground. But if we can get in a comfortable stand, we're going to get in a comfortable stand where we can see 300 yards in the right time of the year. Because guess what? We can sit that daylight to 3. It's hard to
I can shoot better. I can shoot better out of my Viper too. And when I get anchored up in my Viper with a stick, I mean I can shoot 400 yards.
Ain't nothing safe.
No. That's my place. But you can do it from a turkey lounge too,
right?
With a stick.
But I think
you can get set up and you can wreak havoc.
Point of what Jacob's saying is that 75% of the people, they're going to go to that pine that doesn't have a limb on it and can climb and get 20, 25 feet.
They don't have a saw.
But so can everybody else, and that's where everybody else goes. Well, that we're talking about that 4.5, 3.5. We'll say on public 3.5 plus. He's been there 3 years. He's seen it 3 years. He smelled it 3 years. Well, he's either going. A doe's going to get him shot or somebody's going to get him shot. It's the only way you're going to kill him. You get lucky and potentially see him on a wind shift, but he's going to be bedded near the road or he's going to just be bedded where, like Scott's saying, is that nasty, ugly stuff.
And then you've got opening day of bow season.
That's right. I mean, opening day of bow
bow season
bada bing, bada boom.
is so much, maybe. And I will say maybe the first week of bow season is your chance, and then you will fade into rut, But that the biggest deer I've ever seen, which was on a management area, was on opening day. The biggest buck I've ever stuck with a bow that I didn't recover was on opening day,
But it's like you put your cameras out in August and September. And I've got leases.
We didn't even run cameras.
But
then,
all these guys that are
that was back in the day.
They're got the same mindset I do. Is up until that velvet sheds, them son of a guns are out. It's 95 degrees, and you're getting daylight pictures of them at 8 in the morning, 11 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon.
They don't
it's
care.
95, and they don't care. They're lollygagging around that velvet sheds.
Oh, they're a wrecking crew.
And they know.
They're a wrecking crew.
Hey, man,
on opening day, a bachelor group coming through the woods is like a damn bulldozer coming up. And you're like, what in the world? But the next thing you know, there's 4 bucks.
That first time that they shed their velvet, and then all of a sudden they smell that human scent where it's not supposed to be. It's in the woods. And it goes, that light bulb.
Something changes. That's what I was explaining to my stepdad the other day when I brought him on his first deer hunt. And we were out on my club, and there's guys pinned out in all these spots. And I was explaining to him while we're sitting on this, and where we hunted, I was like, if you're going to kill a deer, or if you're going to kill a buck, especially like a decent buck, you got to think, if this deer's 3 or 4 years old, he's done something for 3 or 4 years that has kept him from getting killed out here.
Yeah.
He's not doing what's going to get him in front of all these other guys. You see exactly where they're all pinned out on the pinout board.
There you go.
He's doing something that is not bringing him in front of those guys.
Yeah.
For 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is.
He's checking the wind.
And I was telling him, I'm like, there's probably 2 or 3 good bucks on this property that most of these guys don't even know about.
Right.
Because
I know the property you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by 55-mile-an-hour highways in most places. So there you go. You can probably throw that out, because if he's crossing that, he's
done for.
He may be done for.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is this particular property you're talking about, I told you what we figured out was the best place to hunt was right there near it.
Right by the highway.
That's that's my mindset is I can't hunt near this 55-mile-an-hour highway. The deer's going to get killed every time it crosses it. But then I ended up hunting next to it, and it was like, oh my gosh,
They're
there's
here.
a 120-inch deer. And this is a place that 115, 120-inch deer is it's a stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean right after I joined the club, me and Jacob went and scouted it, found a big old giant deadhead, nice big dead buck. Yeah, big nice buck. And the guy in the other hunting club across the street, the one that you thought it was at first, I texted him because he's a listener of the show. I was like, "Hey, did you have this deer on camera?" And he did.
Yeah.
And just the kind of places that deer was hanging out. Not a place. If you go look at the pinout board, we got a big paper map, and people thumbtack on.
No thumbtacks.
There is no holes where this deer was.
So I figured that out one year. I ended up the property we had 1,000 acres. It's
because it's ugly.
Well, we had a pinout board, and so every time I pinned out, somebody could see where I pinned out. And I said, you know what? The heck with this. I went and bought one of those big magnets and then stuck it up. And so we had a magnetized board, and that was my kind of secretive way because I could hunt during the week after school in high school, and nobody could tell where I hunted at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the guys that are in leases and in hunting clubs like you're talking about is you've either got a sign-in sheet that says area 51 or whatever.
Yep.
Well, you take that and you take that intel, and I love this stuff. Like, I love the intel. Detective work, man. Like, I will sit there at the sign-in book for 2 hours and say, okay, Scott hunted.
Mike Pike.
Scott Seals. Scott
They
Seals.
found Mike Pike, the camera thief.
But you can do that. I mean, just like the little pressure clubs that are around here, you got 2,500 acres, and they've got 25 members in them.
Yep.
Do it. The guys that are in it, I mean, man, you can be so successful and hunt the obvious ugly stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you, the other day, like I was telling you, you know, I got out there opening afternoon, and there's already 6 people pinned out.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna go see. I might shoot a doe, might not. I don't know. And I go look at the pinout board. I'm like, I'm just gonna get downwind on a terrain feature, and boom, see a bunch of does that day.
Right.
Hunt the same spot the next day, see like 9 does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, come Christmas.
How far were you from a highway?
Very close. I could see cars. I could see cars. So I'm like, okay, I'm chalk this
But
up.
like the terrain feature, we're not even going to bring that up because that could go down a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But
The highway's a terrain feature.
That's exactly right.
What's a terrain feature? I was downwind of 2 other guys
Yeah.
strategically.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
all those deer came from
Yeah.
where, you know, the way the wind was going, I don't know if they got up and came
That's
across.
what I would challenge. I would challenge someone that's struggling right now to try that.
Dude, it worked like
Try
that.
sit
In a hunting club now.
Yeah, try to sit down with
that
other
you
people.
know. Yeah. Get you 3 or 4 food plots that are upwind of somebody and sit downwind of it
Yeah.
and just see.
See
They're
what happens.
struggling. Yeah. I guarantee you see a doe.
We saw a bunch of them. So I'm pretty excited about that spot. That's what I was telling. Again, I was with my stepdad. It was his first deer hunt. I mean, it was a very exciting deer hunt for him. So I'm really glad we were able to go to that spot. But I was like, man, I'll tell you what, this kind of area come the rut is going to be awesome.
But back out. Like, don't hunt it anymore. Just let him chill.
Yep.
Right? And
That's
Big
right.
big terrain feature on or on a power line with thick cover on both sides. Good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
yeah. And just let it marinate. Let them stay there.
A little bit of gallberry.
Yeah, man. Well, we're sitting here at 2 hours. We could talk all night.
Yeah.
We could talk all night.
We got to get Alan and Mark on the podcast for like a part 2. Not
We'll
to
do
this
it.
episode.
Story time.
Yeah, it'd be story time. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Because again,
We can go down. We go down a rabbit hole
listen,
there.
I mentioned this early in the podcast, but again, like what I was told about you guys, and I didn't even know y'all's names, was like the legend of this group of like guys that were killing huge deer
Right.
on this specific piece of public land. And it's kind of cool to kind of know too, you guys.
Well, it ain't me because I'm 35.
Well, I mean,
He got drunk. He got drug in the mix by me.
So, Scott, you got
and then just starts messing up everything.
Yeah.
with the-
Scott, Mark, and Alan. You're 3.
that is true. But by the time I had heard about this group, you were already in the group. So because I was 2018 at that time. So
Because of one deer, not
one
20.
deer,
Pretty
but,
good deer.
Two, that big, that wide.
and then it took another
We
year.
need what we need to do is over Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, when we're all in town.
We need to put another
And
big one on the ground.
The one, well, yeah, that too.
That's true.
But that
That too.
154-inch 8-point that Mark killed, that's probably a 20 or 30-minute story, and we need to let them, because people. If I'm listening to podcasts, right, I love the episodes where people just sit down, have a few beers, and just tell deer stories. Rather than deep diving into the whole
strategy.
strategy side of it.
Yeah.
But if we can, we take a couple hours and just, we can get some of the other local guys. And this place is, like we were talking about earlier, we don't know if it's going to be here in 5 or 6 years. So I'm up to sharing some stuff, and Scott shares some stuff, and just hear, like, maybe get Zach and let him throw that hunt back out there.
Man, Zach would have a blast. He'd love this, man.
Because
He'd love it.
I could make him laugh real hard on that one. Because I've got a bullet that does, like, I have that stinking bullet that the darn firing pin.
He called me. He called me. He
Hole.
said, "Oh my God, hi." And he don't get excited, and he is on the upper echelon of, like, it's a big buck. If he's excited, it's a big buck. I mean, so he's just, I'm like, well, damn.
I can't wait for Zach to listen to this, man. I can't wait.
I'll show him a picture. It's the same deer because it's within 300 yards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The old Eccles buck.
The old Eccles buck. Golly, man. I love Zach. Golly.
But his story, and then we got the story with the other buck.
So many stories.
The other buck where you had to run back.
We don't even have
back
to
to the truck.
record it. Y'all would love it.
Had to run back to the truck to get some more shells.
And I left my keys in my bibs that I had taken. I had taken my bibs off and thrown them down so I could run faster. And my keys were in my bibs when I got to the truck.
Golly.
Sweet.
We need to have a storytelling.
That's what
episode.
Brazil-
Yeah, that is in order.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Over New Year's, whatever, y'all let me know a day. I'll be here. I'll be here for
As
that.
long as I'm not in Iowa, I'll be here too. So,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm telling you, cold front comes after Christmas. I'll be gone.
So he keeps his schedule open when he sees a big snowstorm come across Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a 4-week window if he's got a late muzzleloader.
Yeah.
The muzzleloader?
Absolutely.
Muzzleloader?
Do the podcast full time. Got a little flexible schedule. So I'm like,
Look at him.
Well, I'm glad.
snowstorm comes right after Christmas.
So
I'll be
there's
gone.
no excuse this year for Jacob not to shoot a 5.5-year-old deer.
You said you saw.
public
You said you
land.
saw a
in
giant last
Alabama.
year.
Oh, Alabama. That's a different.
In
He shot one in
Alabama.
Arkansas already.
I said Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama. That's true.
You throw some Alabama boys in that Arkansas Delta stuff that are true killers.
It's fun. Hey, I saw more deer there. There was not a day I hunted up there I didn't see less than 15 deer.
You come
Really?
if you're an out of state guy.
It was great.
I challenge you to come to Alabama Public.
Yeah,
and kill
come
a
on.
4.5.
Preach.
Alabama preach.
The hardest deer to hunt in America.
Alabama public deer are the hardest deer ever, and they, boy,
They'll know your
coming
name
by,
in
coming
3
by.
days.
You come by them honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's sweet.
That's what makes it so
It's
special.
sweet.
though.
It is. It is sweet.
I'll be
man.
honest. Arkansas. I saw more deer in Arkansas that I probably will see the whole season out. I think I saw between the October muzzleloader hunt and this gun hunt, I probably saw 110.
So you killed a mature deer in Arkansas?
Yeah,
so
5.5-year-old.
It can't be that hard, can it, Andrew?
Yeah.
No, man.
He killed
Oh,
it.
man.
He killed it in the swamp.
Don't let anybody kill mature
And it
bucks
was like
up there.
it was like the fourth shooter I saw in like 5 days up there.
I
But
think he killed it in the swamp. It was
Golly.
stuck, like
Bunch
stuck
of
in the mud or
suicide.
something.
it was in the I had to kayak him out, dude. It was gnarly.
He slipped up. He slipped on with the kayak. Yeah.
But
aquatic attack.
no, dude, there's a ton of deer up there. I'm not gonna lie. Where I was at, there was so many deer. I was like, God, I'm not gonna see this many deer in Alabama all season. I'm like, where we're at, like, dude, if you see like freaking 8 deer, 10 deer in the morning, you did pretty good numbers wise. But out there is like, if you didn't see 15 to 20 deer, you were in the wrong spot.
area.
Like if you weren't seeing 5-6 rack bucks a day, you were in the wrong spot.
But that's the thing. I mean, when you get in that little
Yep.
bitty pod on these high-pressure public pieces,
Yep.
I've seen 20 deer.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone 4 days in a row and not seen a deer, and all of a sudden, boom, I hit that bullseye. And it's like, oh, my God, every deer within a mile and a half is right
Dude.
there.
right there.
I'm telling you, I tell him all the time. We were on the way over here, we were talking about this coming weekend.
Yeah.
And I was
That
like,
was a
man,
great weekend.
the best hunts I've had out, some of the best hunts I've had out here have been this weekend. You get an early doe. I had 2 days one time where I had an early doe this coming weekend out there, and I saw 19 deer the first day and 21 deer the second day.
So, the property I was telling y'all at least, that's close to here. My buddy went this afternoon, and he went, and on the way in, a mature deer's chasing a doe.
Yep. Wow. And then
He goes to shoot it, and he looks through his scope, and his crosshairs are at an angle.
No.
And he's like, what the heck? And his scope ring, he just bought this gun and just sighted it in, and the bases on one of his rings, the screw has backed out. And he goes to zoom his scope in. He's like, what is going on with my crosshairs?
He turned his scope. What?
And it just goes in a circle. Yeah. And so he sends me this.
Oh, no.
Dude, I'm telling you, like,
I'll be
the stories we have. If somebody could just film like a live, like one year with me and this guy and my friends. Oh my God. But anyway, so he sends me this text. I'm like, what? I didn't know you bought a new gun, right? And so he calls me and he explains it to me. And literally, we run a lot of cameras on this piece of property. And he's like, dude, we don't have a picture of this deer. But that just goes to show you that's one of the first deer that's probably came in heat in that area.
Yep.
And it's a jack. He said it had like 3 or 4 on one side and a spike and a crab claw on the other. Never even seen a deer. It's in the middle of our property. It's
He's
only
come
400
from,
acres.
Yeah.
So
He come from the mansion there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the,
But that's just what I'm saying. Like, he's walking in. He
Yeah.
wasn't expecting to see it. So anybody and their brother could have killed it.
Yeah.
But this is a lease that's not really pressured. And I don't know. But yeah, more of the story is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, it's like when I was in Arkansas, dude, there was a point when this nice 10-point was chasing this doe. And I was sitting in a spot and I saw 3 shooters that one night. It was a really nice 10-point, a really heavy mass 8-point, and a very large 6-point. All was in this, like within 100 yards of each other. Like in this one area, this one doe was hot. And dude, I rattled, I grunted. I tried to do anything I could to get one of those deer to come closer because like I could not get a shot. There's too much crap in the way between me and those deer in Arkansas. And dude, they did not care. They're like, there's a hot doe here. I'm putting my full effort working this scrape and getting onto this doe in this one spot. They did not care about anything else that was going on.
It didn't matter.
It was the craziest freaking thing. That was a couple days before I shot that buck up there.
Have you ever experienced that before?
No, not like that. No,
Really?
no, not in something like that. Back in Alabama, like I've seen like bucks chase does, but like I saw some rutting activity up there that was like unlike what I've seen here.
You don't get all the vocals.
No.
and stuff.
You don't have bucks running does. You don't have bucks grunting does. Like like what I've seen to here.
You get some of it here.
You
but
do.
This is one of the places that I've seen that you can actually call a deer in.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
Do y'all not
Yeah.
agree with that?
This weekend.
I agree.
This weekend's gonna be the weekend too. I think rattling.
Well, if you're
took
a
a-
scrape hunter, like if you want to go down the rabbit hole about scrapes, this is your weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this is not airing until whatever 2 weeks, so
It'll
it
be
doesn't
whenever.
matter. It's
It'll
fine.
be gone by the time this comes out.
When this comes out, you need to be hunting where you can see 400 yards. If
Yeah.
you're
100%.
yeah.
I'm good.
There it is.
Scott's like, I'm set up, boys.
I got you.
And the bad thing is just the sign, man. I haven't seen, which I hadn't put the time in, but just the sign this year is so weird for some reason.
I think the drought and like the hit or miss acorn crop's been pretty weird with everything. We've been on some other public land that, well, I'll say I have been on some other public land that has a very heavy acorn crop right now.
Yeah.
And the sign I've seen has been extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Is it white oaks or red oaks?
Both.
Both.
At elevation. And it's been,
you've been on
And the thing
elevation.
about
Same
like
here.
if you have a lease, right, and you have these extreme droughts, and the acorn crop is just not very good. Those acorn trees that are around your food plots that you fertilize every year, that's going to be your magic honey hole trees, because those are also going to be the sweetest because they get fertilized, and that's just, I mean, that's what I've seen from having so many leases throughout the years too. It's something that I've kind of caught up on, and you can do that on a lease. Is take you a family of white oaks, take you a family of water oaks, take you triple 13, triple 17, go put 100 pounds on them, and then you're guaranteed. And it may not be that
sweeten
year,
them up.
but
I was going to hit that honeysuckle.
somebody
place.
Yeah. Well, you can't.
Before.
Yeah. Just let's. And but that's something. I mean, but that's something somebody can do. You can.
I like honeysuckle.
But somebody that doesn't have food plots, right? Somebody that has 40 acres that doesn't have a food plot. Mm-hmm. Take you 10 bags of triple 13. Go pick you out. You can Google a white oak tree and see what kind of bark they are.
Hell, that's $200 now, though.
It is, but
it is expensive.
I mean, we planted. I don't even want to know our bill on food plots this year, but I mean, go fertilize a few acorn trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
acorns.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle.
I'm just saying, if you don't have food plots,
Browse.
Yeah, absolutely.
you're giving too much away doing that.
I'm sorry.
Got the
Sorry.
handler over
See, I
here.
got my handler.
But that
Stop it.
that honeysuckle. That's been a key.
Honeysuckle is king.
It's one of those things that, like, especially with browse, like there's a guy I've been wanting to interview from Georgia who's killed some absolute giants on public land, and he won't come on the podcast. He's an older guy; he's in his 70s. Just because he doesn't want to share what he's learned because there's other guys that are already doing it, and he doesn't want to piss them off, and I respect that. But honeysuckle was a huge factor of like some of his success that he's had around clear cuts and
Well, there's
and
stuff
logging.
Scott's
I
holding
was-
back and
I
he's about
was-
to say it, so just stop.
Yeah.
We're just storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, and this is my thing is I was a food source guru. From that's my forte is a food.
That's
source.
what you told me. Like feed
Yeah,
trees was
yeah,
like
feed tree.
what you were known for.
He is.
Yeah, I'm a food source / feed tree. I can really get it done there. But
But that's back to the early
tried-
season.
that was early season, and then you transition into. You got to be able to see.
It's all about visual.
Once they start to travel, man, you got to be able to see, and you got to be able to capitalize on that one moment. That one moment.
And
Just-
you can transition, like he's saying, throughout the year.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Yeah.
Scott's a white oak guy. Like that's his feed tree's white oak guy.
Yeah.
Now mine may be a water oak, but I've seen deer walk past a white oak to go to water oak, and I've seen deer walk past a water oak to go to a white oak. But he's pretty good on those early season, those first 2 weeks of the season feed trees. I bet he's killing over half the deer with a bow those first 2 weeks of bow season over feed trees. And I know that y'all have had several podcasts about that.
Yeah, it's if you're going to do that, you need to determine how to find it. It looks almost like a
It's a tiller going through it. I mean, it's obvious.
yeah. It's tore up, literally. When when you're talking about something being tore up, it's tore up.
That was
through the leaves.
That was what we called the 89 hole. What he's talking about, I put the climber on a tree and locked it to the tree. It was a water oak in the middle of white oaks.
Well, they were hitting that white oak coming up on the other side of the creek, but then over the hill. Hell, that's what I'm saying.
It's little
I give him a
things.
little bit,
Yeah,
and
it's little things.
and he
Runs with
gets it right.
Yep.
So it's perfect, man.
But it's a teamwork. Like if
It is.
If you're
It's-
hunting public land, man, you got to have a buddy. If it's one of them, like
Shoot, yeah.
I couldn't, because I'm sitting there and most public land that we hunt have service, and so we've got a little group text, right? And that's what makes it so fun for me is that have you seen anything, Scott? No, kingfishers and otters, stuff like that, man. That's what I'm at this point. I'm young, but I just enjoy being out there. When shots start going off, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah. Zoned
I
in.
get fired up.
Yeah.
Me too.
that 10 point
Yeah.
that I killed before I killed the wizard, it was like 2 weeks. And I got out there, and it was a Monday. It was a Monday morning, which I'd never.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never hunted a Monday morning out there. And I went out there, and it was raining. And I thought, if this rain ends, they're going to move. And I get up there and get set up, and it was like, okay, doe. And I'm in our group text. It's the four of us, me and him and Mark and Alan. And I was like, doe, okay, another doe, okay, 8 point.
It was a Saturday morning, not a Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. It was a Monday morning. It was a Monday
6 rack
morning.
bucks before you shot the
No,
Wisher.
that was a Saturday.
Okay,
when I killed that deer. When I killed that
That's
deer.
right. Yep.
The 10 point.
Sorry.
And Alan was like, he's gonna kill one.
Yep.
And you're like, it won't be long now.
But that
I saw another doe come out, and I was like, next thing I know, here comes this sucker, head down, just like that.
But that was a 400-yard shot, probably.
No, it wasn't, but about 175.
That deer? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the other 10 point that you shot.
No, I killed that 379.
That's 400 yards.
So,
Yeah.
But that kind of brings it to the thing that we talked about earlier is like know your equipment, be capable of making that shot because there's a lot of guys that
You got to be prepared.
I can't
for that.
make that. Me personally, I can't do it. I'll shoot at 250 or 300, but
No, I
he can.
I'm confident to 4 to 5.
what's your rifles and scope setup? Just curious.
A 7 mag with a 4x16 Monarch with a BDC. I mean the BDC.
But he's practiced.
Yeah, I mean the BDC. You can go to their spot on program, whatever app or whatever, plug in your bullet, plug in everything, and it'll tell you through your reticle what it'll do. And yeah, I mean but you got to be. That's what I'm saying. You got to be able to execute that too. You got to have your stick. You got to be solid. But yeah, man, I mean, I could kill a buck at 500 yards.
I can't.
I feel confident in that. Have I done it? No, but
What's the farthest you've taken a buck at?
379.
Okay.
That 10 point right there.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped in his tracks. You know, I don't. So I feel like
And people that say, I shot
could,
one at 300 yards, if you
can shoot a piece of paper at 500 yards.
But do you
But
really
can- but
understand
can you
how
shoot-
far
but can-
300 yards is?
But can you shoot a buck when you're like, oh goodness, in the moment?
Yeah, worked
That's
up.
what I'm saying. You have to work through all of that
And keeping your emotions,
Yes. Wait till after he drops, and then be like, woohoo! And that's not easy.
Then
to
you
do.
can freak out.
Yeah, the farthest I've ever killed a deer was 315 or 318, something like that.
Yeah.
And dropped. It was a doe. Dropped her, but that is
a long way.
It is a long ways, and it's also one of those things. It's like, it's one thing is shooting. Like we've shot it to our family farm. I've shot it to 350, 375. Hit 6-inch target, no problem, 5 out of 5 times. But it's another thing when you're worked up and it's a big buck.
That's right.
And you're like, I've got to try to execute the shot. One shot, make it happen.
The glory of it is when they're that far away, they don't look that big. I mean, it really is a blessing. You're like, okay, that's a buck. That's a good buck. Okay, let me settle in. And you just settle in.
Not for us.
No, well, he can't do it because he's got his tree stand on his back.
That's like the Eccles buck, like I was saying. If you really want a little bit of an adrenaline rush, have a 160, 23-inch wide buck. And you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And the dadgum firing pin hits. And it doesn't go off.
I can't imagine.
Then you just start racking shells. And the best thing.
And bullets start flying.
We're going hot, baby.
Yep.
We're going hot.
Yeah.
Just laying lead down.
Get things go a little sideways.
But hey,
right there.
I think Zach should buy me dinner or something.
Well, I think y'all should go out and have a steak dinner together.
You let his buck slide.
Yeah.
That's a,
Oh, that sucker called me. He called me. He's just like, oh, you ain't gonna believe this. You ain't gonna believe that. I was.
That's the only one I missed
said,
out there.
I dropped a hand. He said it click, and he's like, I can't believe it.
We need to do a
That's
little,
another
a little
story. Yeah, story.
time.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We should try to do it, man, sometime in January or whatever. But or maybe over New Year's. I mean, whenever y'all are free. I'm telling you, I'll be here.
Shoot.
We'll get a group together. We got how many? We got 6 headsets and then 2 other mics. So I mean, we can fit some people on this thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm telling you,
yeah,
Your
there's-
reviews.
there's some-
on that one.
There's some pretty good stuff.
They might plummet.
There's some pretty good stuff.
We're sitting at 2:20 here. Let's get some concluding thoughts.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys will come back on, man. This has been fantastic.
I hope so, man. I hope
Dude.
so. I thought about it. It's just like, it's like, you don't do a podcast? It's like, my dumb ass? What am I supposed to
Then he called and it's like, hey, I need somebody to calm me down.
Yeah.
Can't keep you.
I need my handler.
That's so funny.
So if you guys were going to leave anybody, we're kind of going into December here, and for some people, rut's come and gone. For a lot of people in the Deep South, we still got our best days ahead of us. So what would be your advice for somebody going forward? Let's say next month and a half, 2 months.
For me, depending on what you're hunting, try to keep. You've got to feel the pulse of what's going on, where you're at, whether it be small or large. If it's small, I don't know how to deal with something small, really, other than they're doing this, they're doing that. But if it's big, you got to get out. You've got to hammer it out. They're like, okay, they're here. We've already covered it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Where are they right now?
Know where they are. Know when they're there.
Yeah. Well,
Key in on it.
You got white oaks, whatever have dropped or starting to wane, kind of fade out. What kind of browse? What do you have planted?
Yeah.
It's tough for me because I go hunting the freaking wood. I go out where there ain't a whole lot of. I'm hunting a travel place. If anything.
Yeah.
So train, know your place, know where.
Keep your finger on the pulse, man.
Yeah, know where and why deer are going to be crossing specific areas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard for me to relate to maybe a lot of regular deer hunters because I hunt some.
It depends on where we're at. I mean, if I'm in the Midwest and I'm, shotgun season's probably open up when this drops. The first or second week of December, and I'm probably going to be hunting food up there. We're in Alabama, where we're at. We're going to be concentrating on. I mean, this is our rut. We're going to be concentrating on the doe groups.
Yeah,
Scout. We're probably gonna. We've got our 3 or 4 doe groups that we've scouted, and we're starting to scout right now. I mean, that's what we're hunting for is doe groups.
It's going honeysuckle.
And then you've got South Alabama guys or certain sections. Hey, it's a bad time to hunt. They're probably not even hunting to save your vacation days till Martin Luther King Jr. and then that February, and then you got Georgia it's that first, second week of December is pretty slow over there too, but it just depends on where you're at. I mean, that's it, and that's what I would leave somebody with.
I'm really wanting to go crappie fishing Friday.
And Scott's to the point now. He's got a Garmin, he's got a forward-face sonar, and he's learned
I like the boat. Listen, the boat setup's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I had that boat in Arkansas because I could have got to some other pieces of public land that I couldn't get to with my kayaks. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be a sweet setup. But
let me know when you need a partner in crime.
2023.
He said, "You saw how many deer? How many rack bucks? I'll come up there with you."
It was a lot of deer, and it was a lot of big deer.
Yeah. Crappie fishing is my problem right now.
Well, you can do their other podcast, the Southern Waters.
Southern Water, yeah.
Yep.
I'd probably take his ass out there and he'd be like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard.
I hear you.
All right, guys, cool. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. Hope everyone tunes in this Friday for the Friday breakdown episode of this. And we're going to have you cats back on.
Well, I just hope we entertain somebody. 'Cause I
Yeah,
know
man.
It was
it's been cool.
been fun.
It's cool. It's good to meet you guys. Yeah,
Great-
I'm
great to
proud of
meet
what
y'all,
y'all
dude.
been able to do, man.
yeah, I mean, y'all are
Appreciate
two
it,
local
dude.
guys.
Yeah, that's
You're-
pretty cool.
Y'all are younger. I mean,
Yeah.
10 years younger than me. And then, you know,
Well, I'm an old man.
I'm proud of I'm proud of what y'all done. And a lot of people
Yeah,
that are
really.
in this
That's-
area
that's a-
really
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, dude, it's been a
That's
blast.
how Goober. He's picked it up and
been a
run
ride,
with,
man.
He's picked it up and run with it, and
What time is it?
I get a kick out of that.
I'm asleep by 8 o'clock. It's 10:15. We got to go.
Is it
Yes, sir.
10:15?
Yeah.
We've been on here for about 3 hours. You know, nothing big. I'll say this. This kind of a last kind of point to wrap up. It's cool to kind of find guys like yourself again from. Hearing from our local biologist, it's like, these guys are some legends.
He's
Killing
getting-
big
he's
deer.
getting
I know.
called.
Yeah, you got to reach
so
out to him. I'm
mad.
not going to say his name, but saying like these guys are legit. You're killing big deer every single year. They don't post it on social media. It kind of gives me like an appreciation for the property that we've been home. Because again,
Yeah.
I've seen some big deer out there, but it's like it's so hit or miss. But it's cool to find guys like yourselves that are having ton of success killing very large deer. There's been like hit or miss years, but like killing large deer in an area that has a ton of hunting pressure, making stuff happen, and kind of from an outsider looking in. Like there is potential here to not only do it like maybe on that property, but also on other properties of how to focus on hunting pressure and using it to your advantage to end up being more successful. And that's a huge takeaway from this episode.
That's
is
key.
like
That's
understanding
key.
hunting pressure and really playing that to your advantage. Because y'all are talking about if you're gonna have a big buck coming through, it's gonna be 10-2, 10-3, something like that, and really keying on like where a guy's gonna be coming back into the woods or leaving the woods and setting up so like when they bump a deer like I did on Sunday, that buck's gonna come running right past you or trotting right past you where you get a shot opportunity. And it's super fascinating to find guys like yourselves that are killing some freaking huge deer. Like we're sitting in this room, Scott, you kill some freaking
Scott's
monsters.
the OG, Scott and the gang. I mean, all the guys that are
the OGs,
that are the OGs, and that's everywhere. I mean, you got your, like I've said, I mean, Michael Perry, right? And that's the OG. That's that generation. And we're I'm not the new school. I'm just out there. I'm a weekend warrior now. Do I hate deer like I used to? No, absolutely not. But by God, I want to kill one every time I go out there.
You still mad at him?
I'm still mad at him.
Oh, he's tore up right now. It's just like, God, I don't know.
I'm mad I didn't see a 3.5-year-old buck.
And I'm like, going fishing Friday.
That's me. Andrew killed a nice buck in Georgia, and ever since then, I've had a vendetta against every single whitetail I see. I'm like, we're gonna.
Well, me and Jacob made team
we're gonna
up.
kill a
Listen,
whitetail.
you need to stay around. We may team up at the 1st of December.
Hey, man.
And we may have a little competition.
Yeah, boy. Come on.
That may be our deal.
Yeah.
Has Jacob ever killed a 130 on public?
Not in Alabama. No, Iowa I have. Not in Alabama, but we'll make it happen.
He's driven. It's funny because he's had. Yeah,
I got to have some kind of competition.
Yeah, he's had all the club putting bait out.
Oh
Here
my
they
God,
come.
this is on private.
And then here he comes. What he really loves is being out there where it's freaking hard. It's hard to come by. That's why I know what a hunter he is because he loves when it's hard to come by.
It's a suck factor. It's dealing with the situation. It sucks.
I suck
It's not easy.
99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
And then, but boy, when we shine,
That 2%.
we
It's
shine,
that 2% of the
bro.
time.
We shine.
And you don't, and it's that 10 or 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That
what you're
you
hunting
for.
can't explain.
Yeah.
And you try
No.
to explain it to somebody.
No,
you
when I
just can't.
when I shot that sucker, it was just like
You went back to you were 12 or 13.
I did, and I was just like, I just shot a heavy 8. That's all I know,
But the excitement,
And the whole time,
excitement you
I
had.
took pictures with the sun coming up after. I mean, the sun's coming up and I'll walk off that hill and I got to go off that
Too many details.
watery.
Anyways,
We're going to skip through that, Scott. But yeah.
2.5 hours, boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, guys.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Really cool.
Until the next time.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.